And hello, my fellow vapers. Welcome to another episode of The Smoker Show. And of course, as always, with me, the wonderful, the creamy, the robust Mr. Phil Busardo. How you doing, Mr. Phil?
Good. I just saw you on the screen, and I thought maybe I wasn't part of the show tonight.
Well, I wanted to give you the full screen experience, for me and for you. So how's it going? How you doing?
It's going terrific. The week started out really, really bad, as you know.
Yes.
But now that we're here together,
yes,
everything is
everything
okay.
is okay.
Everything is good.
Everything in the world is okay. I have been. You didn't notice something for the last hour since we've been on privately, and it's kind of a little upset me. You didn't notice my shirt.
Is that a Vape Team shirt?
This is a VP Live Vape Team shirt that I found in my closet that I couldn't fit in all these years. But yeah, that's a blast from the past there, isn't it?
Good for you. And you know what? Since you have that, I will share this photo that I brought with me from Rochester.
Look at that.
Look at us. Look at how cute we are.
I look like a whale.
You are a much larger human being in that photo.
We did have a lot of fun that night, though. That's the night where we went to the Greek nightclub. Yes. And I ordered a bottle of scotch for 5 people, and you ordered a bottle of Jack Daniels for yourself. That's exactly what we told the waiter.
And I drank the entire bottle, too.
And you drank the entire bottle as well, too. Yes, absolutely. But, hey, we had a lot of fun. It was good. Why isn't your camera not focusing now? It's pissing me off.
I can fix that.
Yeah, why don't you fix that? Why don't you just... There you go. There you go. Now you're better. Now I can get the full creaminess and the robustness of your Italian complexity. It's a lot of fun. So we do have a pretty big announcement today. We're very, very excited to welcome our newest sponsor to the show, and that is a great website.
Vapor Store.
MyVaporStore.com.
MVS. I was really excited that they're coming on board. They've been on tasteyourjuice.com. They're a recommended vendor. I've dealt with them so many times before. They're one of the really, really big retailers out there for vape products. They do support, Innokin and platform, and they support us. And I'm really, really happy to have them on board. So welcome, My Vapor Store.
Absolutely. And we have asked for a special code for smokers. If you're looking to purchase your first kit, My Vapor Store is going to provide this for us in the next episode of the Smoker Show. And we'll run it on Smoke Free Radio as well, too, because I think it's a great thing. If you're a smoker looking to pick up your first kit, with the recommendations that we do here on the Smoker Show, you will be able to provide you that code here on the show and hopefully save you a little bit of money. But most importantly, quit smoking. That's what the show is all about. It's about quit smoking. The call-in number 215-383-5752. We will have the lines open here in a little bit if you do want to call in with any questions or comments. But we have a lot of stuff to talk about, and I didn't have a good day today. Just not.
Did what?
Did not have a good day today. As soon as I woke up, everybody's hitting me with a study that came out, on inflammation on the lungs and all that. When they applied the vapor with nicotine to some cells and stuff like that, and as always, Phil, like when we're talking about these studies, I think it's very, very important for people to understand. And I think most importantly, smokers need to understand. There's a lot of powers to be that do not want vaping to be your tool for quitting smoking. You know why? Because it is very, very successful. It is very, very successful. We're going to dissect the flavor study, the flavor survey that almost 70,000 vapers participated on it, and you're going to see in there why people don't want vaping to succeed, because it is a tool that works. And a lot of the fear mongering that goes on by these groups, it has a lot to do with the global economic structure that has been built from people smoking and trying NRTs or products that don't work, and taxation that goes to the governments, nonprofits that are funded for the fight against smoking, and so forth and so forth. We as people built vaping to what it is today. Us, the consumers, built vaping. It wasn't big tobacco companies. It wasn't American Heart Association, American Lung Association. It wasn't the government. It wasn't the public, sector of the government. It was not doctors. Phil, it was us, the consumers. That's what started vaping.
It was absolutely us. We were at, I forget which show we were at, the London show or the Germany show. And somebody asked me, how I felt about IQOS being there. I think that was the London show that IQOS was there. And I made the comment that vaping was created by us. people who are watching this show, people who watch YouTube, people, reviewers, it was grassroots. I mean, it came out of nowhere, and just the success and popularity built and built and built. And I had a problem with them riding on our coattails, because that's what they were doing, right? We built vaping to what it is today, and now all of a sudden IQOS is there riding our coattails. It's kind of ironic if you think about it.
You know, before we get into this, let's just have at it, because I think it's really, really funny. I was talking about this on my blog yesterday. Actually, Mike Vapes came on just on the blog yesterday. We had a really, really good conversation on pods.
Wait, Mike Vapes was on your blog?
Yeah, because you obviously broke your brand new computer. You couldn't come on alongside with your 18 upload speed in Cape Coral, Florida. Which, by the way, I just want to put that out there, that they do not offer higher speed in Cape Coral because everybody's 80 years old. So nobody needs it, really.
No, I already found out that I can get like double that. I can get like 36 upload, okay? But like a technician has to come out to my house and like wire some shit up. Okay?
Yeah, I got you. I'm
going to do it just for you so that you can stop busting my balls.
But
okay?
I think we find it funny that we're talking about, you know, we're all coming full circle again. We're seeing the pods get smaller. We saw Enjoy. They're launching the Loop, which is kind of like a stick battery kind of thing, which... to be fair, you know what Enjoy should do is release the King again. The King that they had back in 2015, that was a soft tip. That was a great disposable e-cig. I don't know why they got rid of that. That was the best product in the market, but whatever. I'm just going to get on a rant on that. But let's talk about the first e-cig, because we're going back to the same thing. Now, I had this, which I don't know if you remember this box
It's
mod.
upside down, by the way. It's upside down. There you go. That's much better now.
Do you remember this? This Revolution V2 was basically a battery pack.
Way, before we start getting into this, I just want to compliment you on the screen transitions.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
I know you put a lot of work into that. I know you were showing me all day long, right? And I think you did a really, really good job. Everything is looking really good.
48 hours of learning this.
The link worked tonight too.
Yes. Yeah. Don't jinx anything. I swear to God. If anything breaks, I'm going to blame you.
Okay.
But thank you. I was looking through my stuff the other day here in the office, and I found this box. Now, of course, this just says Revolution V2. It's just a box that this was actually a battery pack that they made into a mod, and I just kept this box because inside I opened it up, and surprisingly enough, Phil, what I found, I know it looks a little bit dirty or something, but there we go. Okay, this is what I had in there. Blistex, which I needed it because my lips were getting dry with vaping all the time. But inside I had this, Vapor for Life, pre-filled cartomizers, or this particular one, you can fill it. The battery still works. Look at that. I press on the button and the light comes up. Isn't that cool? So this is what vaping was when we started. A cartomizer here. You screw it onto the little battery. This is, I think, 90 mAh. You screw it onto the battery, and then I'm not going to vape this. This juice has been in here for 6 years, but you just
you should vape it.
No, I'm not.
Vape it. Come on. What's the worst thing that could happen?
I'm not going to do that.
All right, so if you vape that one, and I'll vape my first, because my first is sitting behind me. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me finish on this thing. Just I want people to understand that when we started, things were a little bit more difficult than it is now. For you as a smoker, you should, you have all the tools that you need out there to quit smoking, right? But this is what we started with. This is what we had, and we made it work. In fact, to fill these cartomizers up, I actually did this last night as well too. A little paper clip. I had to take the little mouthpiece off here on the top, which is like a little rubber seal. You're going to see inside there it has some filler material, right?
It is.
And what we used to do is, because the filler material goes all the way down to the bottom of the cartomizer, we used to put 3 or 4 drops. And then I had this little baggie, this one right here, had a little baggie, and I had to put some weight in it because I wanted to use it for centrifugal force. I'd take a penny, I would put the penny inside to give me some weight, and then I'd take the cartomizer that has some liquid, I'd put it inside, and then guess what I did, Phil?
You spun it around.
I spin it, baby. I'm spinning it. And what that did is it forced the e-liquid down to the cartomizer. I take it out, put a few more drops, and do the same thing, just fully saturated. So I do like 4 or 5 cartomizers to have them, ready to go for the entire day. That's what we did.
Do you remember that method name? There was a method name.
I don't. I don't, but yes, you're right.
Wasn't it the Taran method or the
Yes,
Taran method?
yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was. I had read it on ECF. That's how I learned how to do it as well too. So I think that was, that was pretty cool. I actually started with V2, but this is what I had in here, which was my next battery. I went to Vapor for Life, and I bought the same battery that I bought from V2 for like 1/10 of the price. That's not the point. That's what I'm trying to get at. But inside here, I also found something that was really this was a little bit sentimental to me. Avid Vapor, still around, still going strong. Avid Vapor used to send us with their orders, and it looks like it says there is no match, right? It looks like a little box of matches, but actually inside it is just toothpicks. It's really, really cool. It's just a little trip, down memory lane. So, yeah, but everything is coming around. If you think about it today, and by today I mean if you think about the pod systems that are coming out, what are we seeing, Phil? We're seeing a battery. Right? Same thing. We're seeing a battery, a little tank to hold the e-liquid, right? A little coil that's inside that's firing it. It's exactly what we did 8-9 years ago. It's exactly the same concept.
It is. Like I would imagine that a few years from now, sub-ohm vaping and clouds are going to be invented, and we're just full circle again.
Absolutely.
So I don't have my first e-cig that I actually used, okay, which was a Joy 510. And really, you were using a cartomizer. I was using atomizers back then on the Joy 510. And on the atomizer, there was a little tiny bridge that had like some steel wool wicking material. And then there was some material that sat on top of that bridge. You remember this. And you would fill it up with e-liquid, and then you would just kind of pray to God that the e-liquid found its way to the coil, right? And that's when modding like really first started. That's where the term mod comes from, because we took what we had back then and we tried to make it work better, right? One of the, two of the big methods were the Lipton pyramid tea bag method. So what we would do is we would remove that filler material, and we would go to the store and we would buy these Lipton pyramid tea bags that were, the tea was in the special material that actually worked really well for wicking. And we would throw the tea away, and then we would just use the material to fill with e-liquid, right? Other people were using blue foam from aquariums, but I do have my proof of concept e-cigarette, right? And this was it right here. It's called, I don't think they can get away with this anymore. E-Health cigarettes.
E-Health, that's great.
E-Health, yeah. And it's got a little plug, see, that comes out the side right there, right? You just plug it right into the wall, and inside there is a battery, much like the battery that you just showed. Yep. There it is right there. And these little cartridges, and I think some of these cartridges are actually still full. And should I try it?
I don't know if it's going to be full. I mean, it's probably got to be dried up after all these years.
Yeah, I know, but I'm looking now and I don't see an atomizer here. Oh, there's one. Oh boy.
It's what's
that's the very same atomizer I was just talking about. If you take a look here, you can see. I don't know if I'll be able to get up on here.
Let me get closer to you. Let me switch to you, and then if you can focus.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's not focusing on the little atomizer.
It's focusing on your beautiful face, is what it's doing.
All right. Well, anyway, there's a little tiny bridge on there. So I'm gonna actually try this.
Okay.
Did you try vaping yours yet?
I did not. I really don't know if I want to. I really don't. I mean, this is. I mean, okay. Well, if we're gonna do it, might as well do it. I can't back down from a dare.
Let's see.
What was that show called? Fear Factor. This is Vape
Fear Factor. Fear is. So I don't even know if it's gonna. I mean, it charged, right? Oh no, it's just flashing.
Oh, your battery's dead.
No, I charged it all day long. Oh well,
it could be just that. It could be just the.
It was worth a shot anyway. But yeah, that way. I mean, this was my proof of concept back in. This was 2009 when I did research on vaping. Like I read as much as was possibly that I could read at that time. Very little research material out there, but it made me decide that vaping has potential. I don't see a whole lot of negative things with it. I don't. Unlike today, the stuff that we read today, So I bought that and I tried it and I was like, hey, there's something to this. This might actually work. And then I did more research and I wound up with the Joy 510, and I used the Joy 510 for a long period of time before I started to get into the cardomizers, and then ego twists and the clear what do you call clearamizers, Vivanovas, cardo tanks, all those things. And now look at where we are today.
I think that this is proof of concept for all the smokers that are, if we can quit with something like this, or Phil can quit with something like an e-health, I think that goes to show you that this product can work if you have decided to quit smoking. That's the biggest factor. You need to be able to say, I'm ready to do this. And then everything that you're going to get, even if you run into difficulties with charging and leaking and all the fiddliness that goes along with vaping, I think you're going to be able to quit. I do want to make a little announcement. We do have a survey running that I would like for you guys to participate. Beal is going to put it in the YouTube chat right now. It is surveymonkey.com/r/X5FFLN8. It's just 2 questions. If you don't mind, just take a couple of minutes. Not even that long. You should be able to do it in a minute. Just take a couple of minutes and answer the 2 questions that we have there. It's just kind of like
questions.
It's just 2 questions. And again, I don't want to hear this like, oh, mine is like, just pick one. It's very, very simple. What did you start with? And then what is your most predominantly used flavor after you quit smoking? That's all we want to know, just for us that are in the chat today. And we want to see if it's going to match up with the study that we're going to talk about a little bit later. But going back to the first e-cigarette, I do want to again reiterate to the smokers that are out there, there's just a wide variety of products. Brings me up to the question that I have here from the chat. This is from a current smoker right now with a question. He recently purchased the Innokin Chroma with the Plexus. Great setup, really enjoyed it. He also bought 1.5 milligram juice to go along with it. The first few times I used it, I loved it, and then it went great a few minutes later. I got this dizzy, out-of-body feeling, almost a high feeling, was very strange, and I didn't like it. Does anybody knows what could be causing that?
Is this where I'm supposed to answer?
Yeah.
Or are you... Okay.
Well, I mean, just take a wild guess. I can tell you right now that 1.5 milligram if you're a smoker is not a very good liquid to start with.
So when you say 1.5 milligram, are you talking about 12 or like what's 1.5 milligram mean?
1.5 milligram of e-liquid. So it's half of 3 milligram. Really.
Are you talking about nick strength?
Yeah.
Okay. So did they over-nick?
I don't know. I mean, unless they constantly were vaping, because 1.5 milligram would probably cause a smoker to constantly vape in order to be able to maintain nicotine into their body. That's what I'm guessing that's happened.
Yeah, I mean, because like if they're feeling dizzy and an out of body experience, that to me would point to over-nicking, right?
Yeah,
and their body is telling them that it's too much. They need to back down.
Yeah. Also, Phil, if you can do me a favor, I can't post the link in the chat for some reason. Can you copy the link from your Facebook message and post it inside the chat, since you're the owner of that YouTube channel? Maybe it'll allow you to post it. Me as a moderator and Beal, it's not allowing us to post that link. Just copy it from in there that I sent you. And I do, while you're doing that, I do want to get back to this question. The dizzy feeling to me has always come when I'm over-nicking. And by over-nicking, especially with 1.5, you must be vaping a very, very long time. There's no other logical explanation that I can have for you to be feeling, dizziness and stuff like that. I actually did over-nick even with these small batteries over here, because just my body, these don't deliver nicotine efficiently and as good as today's products. So at the time, I would pick this up with 24 milligram or 36 milligram. And I'd constantly vape. And then all of a sudden, I'd get a heavy feeling in my chest. I get a little bit of dizziness and ooziness. All that is because too much nicotine had entered my bloodstream and my plasma that caused me to get that feeling of nauseous. I would personally, if I was you and you're a current smoker, Brad, what I would do is I would choose a 12 milligram e-liquid, take that 12 milligram, put it inside your Chroma in your Zenith with a 1.6 ohm, and then just use it as a cigarette. Pick it up, take 4 or 5 puffs, and then just set it down. 5, 6, 10 minutes later, if you feel the need, pick it up and use it like that, just like you use, a cigarette yourself. So,
do me a favor. Okay,
yeah.
Here it is. I found it.
Okay.
It was like way up in the chat.
Yeah. If you don't mind, just kind of post it inside the chat and send it in there. I don't think an allergy from PG would cause that dizziness. I really don't think so. All right. So another question that we have here. Okay, we'll cover that towards the end for Edward Alexander. I'll cover that question kind of towards the end. I don't want to be jumping all over the subjects as well too. And I don't know why anybody. I don't know if somebody gave you 1.5 milligram or you chose that, but really, it's if you're quitting smoking, 1.5 milligram is not going to do anything for you. it's really not going to satisfy you. You need to up your nicotine, especially the first couple of weeks.
And I think that's why I had so many questions about that nic concentration, because I've never even heard anything that low.
They actually do make it. They actually do it. Why is the link not posting in there?
I just put it in there twice.
Somebody's asking why the mic is in front of me. I don't know. If you don't like it, don't watch. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. Anyway, so back to you can't post the link?
I posted it twice. I guess it's not going.
Okay. All right. So let me bring it back up on the screen here. That way people maybe can copy it from here and are able to put it in there. Here is the actual link if you just want to type it into your browser.
We'll give you a minute.
SurveyMonkey /the letter R /X5FF LN8 for some reason. And I will, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to post it like this with a break. Hold on. Here, like that. I am going to break that up. Break that up. I'm just going to put spaces in between. That way it doesn't look like it's in the URL. There we go. Nope, that didn't work either. Put a space in before the com they're saying. So try that.
All right, let me try that. How about that? Did that work?
Doesn't seem like it's working. No.
Oh.
But anyway, so hopefully people will be able to pick it up here from the screen. And that was a really good idea gone bad. I really don't know why it's not letting you post it. You own the channel.
I know, that's ridiculous.
That is weird. But anyway, yeah, maybe somebody can break it up and post it in the chat. Anyway, so yeah, our first e-cig. This is what we started with, and we're still here 8 years later, or 9 years later for Phil, telling you that vaping does work. So don't believe all the fear mongering, all the propaganda that is going on in mainstream news media, paid and bought for / hashtag fake news. Don't believe any of that. Vaping is safer than smoking. Vaping can help you quit smoking, and we're going to sit here on this show and yell it on top of our lungs.
Yes, we are. And
our smoke-free, now vapor-filled with deliciousness lungs.
Yeah. And, keep in mind, too, we're seeing a lot of those studies, and, everything just sounds so bad. It sounds so bad. I've been vaping since 2009, right? I mean, I mouth to lung. I don't vape a lot of high VG. I don't do a lot of direct lunging, and I'm fine. I mean, I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Right. I've never had an ill effect from vaping. If anything, there are some measurable and noticeable improvements since I've started vaping. The sense of smell, the sense of taste. You don't get tired as fast. You wake up in the morning and it doesn't hurt to breathe. And of course, the upper respiratory tract infection thing that I've talked about so many times, I used to get them all the time, right? And since I've been vaping, I haven't had a single one. So, I mean, it's got to tell you something. Now, granted, it's going to be generations before we know exactly what it's doing to us, right?
Yeah.
But all of the information, all of the studies, all of the documentation is very, very positive. And when you see the bad stuff coming out, it's almost like they're just confirming what we're telling you, that this is vaping. Vaping is harm reduction, not harm elimination. It's like all they want to do is prove what we're telling you.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. I put the tiny URL in the chat. Just add a dot before the com and then put it all together, and you'll be able to do it. Do you recommend the Plexus Coil to use with nic salts? No. We highly recommend the 1.6 ohm coil on the Zenith tank for nic salts. Low wattage, 10, 11 watts. That's all you need. And vape nicotine salts to your desire, I think, there. In the pod system, it's different because the chamber and the shaft is completely different. It's designed completely different. In the Zenith tank, 0.5 is too intense for nicotine salt. 1.6 ohm, 10, 11 watts, you're fine, and going to be very, very satisfying as well, too. So that handles that question as well, too, Mr. Phil.
I have a lot of questions coming in. That's good. And somebody call in, too. We love taking your phone calls.
Yes, we will. We will. Absolutely. But first, Mr. Phil, speaking of the EQ.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Nope. That didn't work.
You want to try again?
Nope, because that
Uh-oh.
froze my My
Oh no!
It froze my my Wirecast.
Are we down?
Let me see if it's gonna recover. See, you jinxed it.
Fuck.
It says we're live, but my Wirecast is frozen for some reason.
Okay, people are telling us we're still live and still here.
Yes, but it's not. My program is not responding.
Okay, so what do we do?
When I click the video, put another $1 in the jukebox. That's a good question. I don't know why Wirecast froze right there, but I guess I can restart it. But that's going to kill the stream. So, see, I told you. I told you you're gonna jinx it.
It's my fault.
It really is. It really is.
Sorry.
It really is your fault. Let me try this real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna do Task Manager.
Can you come back into the same link if?
I do not know.
All
right.
Okay, so the Camaro, I'm using a Nic Salt in here right now. It's a 20 milligram Nic Salt from 𝗏𝗡𝗡𝗢𝗏 Shop. It's actually, is this the one right here?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Cafe Vanilla from 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗢𝗏 Shop. This is what they call Silk Nic, which I really happen to like the name of that. Not Salt Nic, Silk Nic, and it works great. Works great in here.
Hey Dan, what's up, buddy? Nice to see you. I know we're still up, but I can't get into my Wirecast to switch shots. So I really don't know what I'm supposed to do. Just gotta wing it the way it is now, I guess.
Yeah, well, we can't show any videos or anything, and we got to show videos later.
Right. So I am going to attempt to restart it, and then we'll see what happens. How about that? If that came back up, and we'll see if that's working right now. All right. Are we back live? I just want to make sure that we caught up back on the stream.
My screen is still frozen, pal.
No, I'm not talking about your screen. I'm talking about the stream. The stream.
Okay.
Okay. It looks like we're back up, I think, right now. So I'm back. All right. See? That was very, very easy to do.
All right. They said we're live again.
Yep.
They're asking where I am.
So hold on a second. I do have to refix your shots for some reason. So while I'm doing that, that would be screen capture there. Correct. All right. Let me see if I can play a video before it freezes. How about that?
Okay, got it.
All right. Let's see if this is going to play.
Nope. Working?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll make another cup of coffee.
For a long time, I thought that life would be one way, you know? You're in a hole that you can't dig yourself out of, and you just kind of accept that as reality. I started smoking at 13 years old, and I spent over 10 years of my life addicted to cigarettes. I remember telling myself, I'll give this up before I'm 16, before I'm 18, before I'm 21. The truth is that once I started, I was hooked, and I wouldn't even allow myself to come to terms with it. When I was about 26 years old, a close friend of mine started vaping and dropped a 2-pack-a-day habit overnight. After witnessing this incredible transformation myself, I dove headfirst into as much research as I could find.
Where are we?
I picked up my first MTL vapor device in January of 2013, and the rest is history. Within a matter of weeks, my taste, smell, and breathing all improved drastically. I was able to run, hike, and actually be active for the first time in years. It was like discovering my life all over again. In my mind, it's really important to know that I will be here for the people that I care about in 20 years. Many people lose loved ones to smoking-related illness each year, and I don't want to be another one of those statistics. Thanks to vaping, I can breathe easy and enjoy my life to the fullest again. I don't really think you can put a price on something like that.
And look at that. You're looking so good. You're looking so... I really don't know what happened. At least we picked up the stream back where we had to. And while I have to refix the shots, meaning the dual shots that me and you are both together. But while I'm doing that, I have given you the screen. So finish your thought.
I had a thought. What thought was that?
I don't know what you were talking about when we crashed.
That was like a day ago. I'm supposed to remember that. I made a cup of coffee in the meantime.
Yeah, do that. Fix that.
All right. So let's see. Somebody asked me I'm on a different account. I don't know what that means.
I think that what they're trying to say is because you can't put the link inside the box. The box.
Oh, the box. Oh, maybe that's why.
So I can't figure out why you can't put your own link in your own channel.
Yeah, that's really, really odd. They're telling me that my audio is low now.
Okay, I can fix that too. Go ahead.
We were almost so perfect tonight.
Well, you jinxed it as always. I mean, this does not fail.
It's my fault. Let me
see.
Look
at that. Boom. I just did that on the fly, by the way. I just want to let you know.
I mean, you're an amazing human being. You really are.
Oh, Philly. All right, so let's get back to the to the show, and we do have a lot of stuff to talk about, and I do want to bring up the bad. I'm going to start with a bad study, then we're going to get to the good study afterwards. Okay. So the bad study today, obviously, if you didn't see it, is this one right here. This is a hashtag fake news. This is inflammatory effects of e-cigarette vapor. This is making the rounds. Everybody's using it against us. And just to give you, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist, but I can just tell you, and this has a lot of big words that a lot of the vapors are not going to be able to understand, including me. But I do want you to understand what they did is they basically used cultured cells and they applied vapor with nicotine and then vapor without nicotine, and some of the cells started to deteriorate. Once again, the biggest thing that I'm going to take away from this study is that it was not compared to smoking. Because if you took the same study, and we've actually done this, if you took the same study and you put smoke on these cultured cells, and you've seen this from Dr. F's study that he did back in 2013, you're going to see that all the cells died. All the cells died. And with vapor, we're not seeing that. We're not seeing that same effect. So the biggest takeaway that you're going to take from this, if anybody's going to bring it up to you and say, oh, man, look at this study, because they will. I've got at least 20 messages today, especially from vapor haters as well, too. Smokers that are saying, see, I told you. That's why I didn't try to vaping. This is why I didn't, switch to vaping. This is exactly the same as vaping. If you look at the conclusion, okay, this is all you have to do is look at the conclusion down here. In conclusion, we sought to replicate the potential effects of exposure of the user in an acute in vitro system using our vaping condensate techniques, okay? But what is the conclusion, right? Importantly, further research is needed to fully understand the effects of e-cigarette exposure in humans in vivo. So this entire study, the conclusion was, guess what? We need to have more studies.
Yeah.
Right?
But
also we suggest continued caution against the widely held opinion that e-cigarettes are safe. Now, Phil, this one really, really bugs me.
It bugs me too.
Okay, because what they're saying is that everybody's saying that e-cigs is safe, and I personally Have not seen that nowhere, not only from advocates, from our own organizations, from vape shops, from vapers themselves. I have never seen anybody say that vaping is safe.
Yeah. So, when I read that, I have like a list of things here, right? And on my list for that study, number one was, where's the comparison to the bad stuff in a cigarette, right? Where's the comparison of what you found in that study to where we are with a traditional tobacco combustible cigarette? I didn't see anything. Did you?
Nope, I did not.
Okay. So there's one thing. The other thing too, may induce a inflammatory state. May. So there's no guarantees, right? May. I mean, I may have induced an inflammatory state when I was grilling my sausages out on the barbecue today.
And you probably did.
I was breathing in the vapors from the smoke.
Yes.
Right. So I may have done that. Right. But I'm still going to barbecue sausage again, by the way.
As you should.
Yes. Further research is needed. All right. So why even put this out if it may and further research is required?
Right.
Right. And then, like you said, whoever said vaping is safe?
Right.
Have we ever said that? No. Tobacco harm reduction, not elimination. Right. Stop confirming what we're telling people.
Right.
Let's see. What else? There's more.
Go ahead.
The test method, right? The test method was a 3-second pull every 30 seconds. So I don't know anybody who vapes like that. Do you? No. Okay. They were using an 𝗍𝗩𝗘, right? They were using a Kanger product. They were using freebase nicotine, a 50-50 blend on a 1.8 ohm coil. Are you ready for this? The nicotine strength they were using? 36 milligram.
Yep.
Freebase nicotine, not salt, right? I don't even think I can vape a 36 milligram freebase.
Yeah, especially in a newer generation tank, which has a big concentration of nicotine as well too. So when you're going to apply it in the lungs, of course they're going to inflame. Our lungs, anything that you're going to inhale, even breath, creates an inflammation. Now, if it's just a single breath, it's going to be a very, very low inflammation. It probably is not even going to show up on the list. If you go over Phil's barbecue and you breathe in that smoke, your lungs are going to get inflamed. If you smoke, your lungs are going to get inflamed. If you inhale vapor, they're going to get inflamed. They never compare the inflammation between the vapor product and the smoke. And that's where you're going to see the big, first thing that Dr. F said as well too, when I texted him about this is, number one, equipment, methodology, even them, I want people, because a lot of people don't want to read, and I get it, even them, and I want you as smokers to be able to read this, right? They have 3 paragraphs of limitations. They actually have 3 paragraphs of limitations. So basically what they're saying here is that even with a study that we did, we used, COPD, we used mice, we used everything that they used. There's extreme limitations because there's not one standardized way of testing vapor. There's not one standard test, folks. Everybody vapes completely different. And this is what these scientists, so-called scientists, fake scientists, are. I shouldn't say they're fake scientists, okay? They just don't understand the product. They don't understand how we use it in real-world conditions. Dr. F the other day on our live during the flavor study said, when they're doing these tests, they're assuming that you're vaping 24 hours a day, 60 minutes every hour. That's not absolutely true. You can't say that we're taking 8,000 puffs a day when generally we're taking between 400 and 800 puffs of our vapor product during the day. And our breaths are like 8,000 in a 24-hour period. You can't compare the two, or the number that Dr. F said. I don't remember exactly. But once again, useless studies if you're not going to compare them versus the traditional combustible cigarette.
Right, absolutely. You're getting very cranky there. You're getting all riled up. I see.
I am, because I have people messaging me, and from a vaping industry standpoint, people are messaging me about this. Like, what am I supposed to do about it?
No, I know.
Give me a couple $100,000 and I'll replicate the study and I'll compare it to cigarettes. Well, not me, but I'll hire people to do it. But if not that, I really don't know what else we can do. I mean, we're getting killed in media. We've talked about this a million times. Yeah. All I can do is tell you why the study is flawed, right? From there on, there's nothing else that I can do.
Right.
There really isn't.
They even mentioned COPD in that study, and I can't even remember how many people that I've talked to who had COPD and vaping significantly helped them. right?
Yeah.
I know you've heard the stories as well.
Yes, I have. Sorry, I was looking at the chat. Just make
That's
sure I
okay.
didn't lose any questions. But this is to me part of the useless studies. Okay, this study has no validity. However, because of the money, the money that was spent on this, because of the people that were involved in this, it's catching mainstream media. Now, all these people that are against electronic cigarettes, again, it's just like Chuck Schumer introducing a bill to ban flavors right in the Congress. It's not going to go anywhere, folks. Nobody's going to vote this through committee and through Senate and through Congress to get this thing through. But it's a tool that they can use and say, hold on a second. Think of the kids. I introduced a bill in the Senate to ban these flavors that are hooking our kids and are hooking a new generation of nicotine. All it's being used is for publicity. All it's being used is for PR. And what are we doing? What are we, the vaping industry? Nothing. And what are smokers doing? The smokers are listening to this saying, oh, well, screw it. I'm not going to try vaping. It's just as bad as smoking. And obviously here we're seeing from these studies, and we're seeing that they're hooking kids. I'm just not going to try it. So overall, all these are just propaganda items to stop this movement of people being smoke-free without the help of the governments, without the help of the pharmaceutical companies, without the help of all these shysters and snake oil salesmen that are trying to sell these products outside. We know that are not working. That's all it is.
So I don't know if you could tell, but Dimitri got a lot of emails today about that study. He's a little bit cranky. He's a little bit ornery tonight. He'll be okay. I'll soothe him down a little bit. But why are we talking about this on this particular show?
Well, yeah.
About it. Well, hold on. Can I finish my thought?
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to bring up the.
What's that?
I was going to bring up your infamous card. I know why you're talking about it.
Well, you should. But we're talking about this on this show because we don't want people to be afraid of vaping. We don't want people to be afraid of trying vaping because of all this negative things, all these negative things that they're reading in mainstream media or hearing in mainstream media. I invite you to go to tasteyourjuice.com and click on the Is It Safe tab, right? And read some positive studies about vaping because unfortunately, you don't get the positive studies in mainstream media. You just get all of the negative, right? And as far as that whole thought of, we're trying to normalize smoking again, and we're trying to hook a new generation onto nicotine. We've said several times in this show, the purpose of this show is to target smokers, okay? People who have smoked for a long period of time and they know it's bad for them and they're looking for alternatives, safer alternatives. And that's what we're talking about in this show, a safer alternative, which would be vaping. So now you can bring up that slide, pal.
This is what we say on this show every time that we do it. So don't give me this in this freaking study that says, well, we need to caution that e-cigarettes are not safe. Okay? We have had this slide on this show, Phil, almost every episode leading into number 13 today.
No, it's been since episode 1. This slide has been in play since episode 1. So again, this is exactly what we're talking about, folks. Although most studies conclude that vaping is far safer than smoking, we strongly recommend that you do neither. If you do neither, you continue to do neither, right? So, look, why pick up a vice that is not the best for you if you're doing neither? Continue to do neither. Smoking equals bad. We know this, guys. We know that smoking is not good for you. Reducing cigarettes through vaping is good, but we can get better. Eliminating cigarettes through vaping, eliminating cigarettes. You don't smoke anymore because of vaping. That's better. But what is best? Not smoking and not vaping. And just like we talked about before, just like we mentioned with that study, if you see a negative article about vaping, question whether or not that article compares the negative that was found to that of a traditional combustible tobacco cigarette. If it doesn't, we feel that the study is invalid. Okay? Vaping is not harm elimination, it is harm reduction. So we will continue to say that on every single show. The purpose of this show is not to hook new people on nicotine. The purpose of this show is to invite people to try to get their nicotine in a safer way.
God, you say that so well. It's just,
thanks,
excitement. It put me back in a good mood again. It really
See,
did.
Look at that. I told you. I'd
it
work
put
on
me
it.
back into a good mood because I want people to understand that when even vapers themselves, need to have the education and the tools and the assets to be able to combat this on a one-to-one personal conversation with a smoker. Forget about trying to change mainstream media. We don't have the funds. We don't have the power to do that. But you can change vapers. You can change smokers one at a time. One at a time, as long as you know exactly what to say. Nobody in this industry should be claiming that this product is safe. But we have the scientific proof that it is very, very much so safer than smoking, less harmful than smoking by magnitudes. By magnitudes. If you're a smoker, there's absolutely no reason. If available NRTs have failed, there's absolutely no reason for you to try vaping and to quit smoking.
Right. And, you know, that we did that little live broadcast on Facebook. I do want to say hello to Larry, a fellow Cape Coralian. Hi, Larry. But, you know, we were talking about that, and what I said in that, I don't know if you still have the clip, but I don't want you to find that clip because it might crash the system again. You know, what I said was the Royal College of Physicians study, you know, and I know we keep talking about this study because it was a big study. It's a big study by an important group, right? And they said vaping is 95% safer than smoking. That's the number that they found. Okay, 95%. And what I said was, let's say vaping is 5% safer, 5% safer than smoking. Right? Well, if that's truly the case, if we could save 5% of the lives of smokers, why wouldn't mainstream media be behind vaping and support vaping and adopt vaping? Why wouldn't healthcare be behind vaping and support vaping and adopt vaping? Why wouldn't, you know, Cancer Society, all these groups, right? If we could save the 5% of the lives of smokers, why aren't these groups supporting vaping? Right? But we're not talking about 5%. We're talking about 95%. That's a big number. Yeah. That is a big number. And yet still roadblock after roadblock, obstacle after obstacle, fight after fight, bad story after bad story. Why? Why? We're not trying to attract new nicotine users here, guys. We're not trying to attract kids here. Right? We're not trying to attract the younger generation. You don't see us blowing clouds or doing tricks or doing anything like that. Right? We try to be respectful and we try to represent the industry in the best possible way. We're trying to convert smokers who want to lead a healthier lifestyle. And we truly believe in the product. And that's why we're doing the show.
I do want to bring up something that this was written by Dr. Carl Snay, MD. In response to this study that came out. And I think it's very, very important for people to understand it. And I'm going to close on this particular subject with this because it's done very, very well. Many faults in this article to comment upon detail. I would need a total rewrite. Some commentators have tried, but the damage already has been done with a serious misinformation in the article. And yes, misinformation can have deadly consequences. Very, very important to understand that. Though unintentional, as a sense you're trying with your writing, respect that, but insufficient to be in your favor when based on ignorance on the subject. Unintentional when you know not what you are writing about. This is on a website that took this study and started writing, you know, about the study. Here's where it gets really good, and you brought up Public Health England as well too, Phil. A good start on your route to knowledge on this important matter would be to read the major and time-changing reports from Public Health England 2015 and 2018 update, and the report 2016 from one of the oldest, right? The Royal College of Physicians, 500 years old, 32,000 physician members, and the most prestigious medical association in the world. These guys, the RCP, in 1962 warned first of all medical bodies on the dangers of smoking. In 1962, this was the first college to warn on the dangers of smoking, which is 2 years before our Surgeon General here in the United States warned about cigarettes, okay? In 1962, warned from all medical bodies of the dangers of smoking, years before U.S. Surgeon General acknowledged that. And here's very important. As Pablo Escobar said, the history repeats itself today. In 2016, RCP promotes vaping electronic cigarettes instead of smoking. And now here we have these bad garbage peer-reviewed studies that are coming out that are trying to fearmonger and scare people from trying electronic cigarettes. And that is coming from an MD, my friend.
Right. So, I mean, like, to nutshell that, right, this group that says that vaping was 95% safer is also the first group to warn us about the dangers of smoking.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's not like this group is like, oh, they've always been, all about nicotine. No, that's not what we're saying. And, to kind of finish my thought as to, like why are these roadblocks and why, and I said it on the show, and I think it all boils down to money, right? You're losing money in taxes.
Yeah.
You're losing money in healthcare. You're losing money in known or approved cessation devices and methods, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, cancer and treating people, not curing people, is big business. I mean, could you imagine what would happen if cancer were to be cured right now?
Yeah,
right this second. I mean, think about it. It would be like an economic breakdown in the United States. Hospitals would close. People would lose their jobs. Doctors. I mean, it would be a complete collapse, right? So, I don't like to be a conspiracy theorist, but when you see...
How can you not?
I know, exactly right. When you see all this negative press we're getting for vaping, and it's working for so many people, you start to question things.
Well, I mean, I do want to be a little bit fair. I do want to be a little bit balanced when it comes to this. A lot of the older school tobacco control people are seeing this come out. It looks like smoking. They're seeing kids pick it up. I get it. I understand. But their concern should also be scientifically based, right? If kids are picking this up, right? If kids are picking it up, at least they're not picking up a cigarette. That should be a win. It shouldn't be, look, I'm not for initiation use. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that think about these kids if this product was not around, and how many of them would have become #1 customer for the big tobacco companies like they've done all these years. Because let's face it, tobacco control has not slowed down smoking and new customers, right? So if this is your concern, if this is your biggest concern, it should be weighed on a scale. All right, we're going to have a couple 100,000 kids that are going to pick it up, and we're going to save 500,000 lives a year. To me, that's a pretty good balance. I really don't care at that point. I want to save people from dying. So I'm going to shift gears. Because I'm going to turn this into a smoke-free radio. I really don't want to turn this into a smoke-free radio, but
you are. We are getting a little bit smoke-free radio here. I say we listen to one of our sponsors, and maybe we get back to the Smoker Show.
What if this breaks?
We'll restart it again. Good luck, there we go.
All right, good luck to I guess me that's going to hit this button. Hold on.
Here we go.
Nope. See, it didn't work.
It crashed again?
It crashed again. Yes. Hold on. I can fix this really, really quick. I don't know if it's the type of videos that this is doing, but at least I can get.
It can't be though, because you just played a video and it worked.
That life would be one way,
Okay.
Let me switch.
You're in a hole that you can't dig yourself out of.
Your lower third.
You just kind of accept that as reality.
Can we get the video playing?
There's mine. And,
I started smoking at 13 years old, and I spent over 10 years of my life addicted to cigarettes.
How about that?
I remember telling myself, I'll give this up before I'm 16, before I'm 18.
That worked and it didn't break. Imagine that. That is pretty impressive. I do have one more piece that I want to bring up this is from the WTF. That's what I'm going to call it. This is from the WTF file You're gonna love this one. This is an actual study that was done. People actually spent money on this. I don't know how many thousands of dollars to do this study, right? And then the name of the research paper is E-cigarette users commonly stealth vape in places where e-cigarette use is prohibited. The conclusion of this study, right? Stealth vaping is a common behavior for many experienced e-cigarette users. More research. We want more money to understand the reasons for stealth vaping and its potential health and safety implications. This information could help researchers and regulators to design interventions to minimize the public health impact of stealth vaping. First of all, why do this study? You could ask me. I am a master stealth vaper. I vape everywhere. Don't ask Dan Donahue. Please don't ever use Dan Donahue as a stealth vaping subject because we're gonna fail miserably.
The only thing that would help Dan Donahue stealth vape is a dead battery. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
But you spent all this money to stealth vape. Of course, stealth vaping is. That's the beauty about vaping. It does not harm the bystander. You can double inhale it, nothing comes out, and you still receive your nicotine. It is basically, people tell me all the time, it's like, oh, we should be careful with stealth vaping because it's illegal. No. When you take a patch or a gum and you're in a setting like that, you're doing exactly the same thing. If nothing is exhaled from my breath, it is not illegal because I am not causing harm to anybody, to nobody, not even myself, by the way. Just gonna put that out there.
I have a frozen screen in front of me. Is that supposed to happen?
No, I can fix that as well too. Don't worry about that. The stream is working very well. I forgot to restart our stuff.
Were you able to play the sponsor spot?
Yeah, I did.
All right.
I played it. Maybe that's why it's busting because I'm using the I'm also broadcasting to you as well too.
Okay, so I'm sure we're gonna get this fixed for the next show. No problem, right?
No. I mean, everything was working fine until you spoke. So anyway, this is the WTF useless study. Hashtag fake news one more time from Tobacco Control.
Let's get back to the smoker show.
Yeah. So what they figured out. Well, I mean, this is very important. What they figured out is that people stealth vape.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the conclusion of it.
How much did that study cost?
I don't know. Thousands of dollars. All right, let me see. I am a ninja vapor vaping Greek. Absolutely, I am. Phil will tell you that I am the best stealth vapor. Well, I shouldn't say the best because I haven't seen everybody stealth vape, but I'm one of the best stealth vapors out there.
I think I'm right up there with you. Actually, we shouldn't be talking about stealth vaping. Let's. I created that beautiful slide and I still haven't seen it yet.
I am going to bring it up
right
now. And what are we going to talk about?
Let's talk about like for new vapors, what's some of the bare minimum information that you should have?
Yeah.
Right. That you should arm yourself when going to a vape shop or dealing with vaping. So I thought about that today. Like, what's some of the bare minimum knowledge that you should have if you're getting involved in vaping?
And I think this is very, very important once again for vapors as well too. I think they should take this information again when we're passing it on to a smoker. Briefly, I want to say that when you overload information into a smoker, it's usually a turnoff. So what we're talking about here is the bare minimum you should pass on or a smoker should know before they make the decision to go and try vaping.
Yeah, I mean, clearly there's a lot more information, right? But what's some of the bare minimum stuff? And I'm going to make this a little bit larger here on my screen so I can see it.
Sure. Yeah, you get a little bit older.
All right. So what's e-liquid? What is juice? You hear the slang juice. I prefer the term e-liquid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the liquid inside your electronic cigarette, whether it be a cartomizer or a tank or dripping or whatever. That's the liquid that's heated. It turns into a vapor and you inhale it into your lungs. It contains PG, VG, nic, and flavors. Typically, higher VG will produce more vapor. It'll produce less throat hit, and it will also be more difficult to wick in some tanks because it's thicker, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's very simple stuff here, guys. What is mAh? You hear, like Dimitri will call it mAh. That's really not a word. It's called milliamp hours.
Sorry.
Milliamp hours is the capacity rating of the battery in your device, whether that be an internal battery or a user replaceable battery. You could just think of it as, the capacity of the battery. A higher milliamp hour rating will give you more vape time on a charge. Okay. Now we hear about resistance a lot in vaping. Coils have different resistances. Different coil materials have different resistances. Coil heads come in different resistances. So what is resistance? What is this thing that we call it? You hear it ohms, and the symbol for it is omega. An ohm is just a measurement of that resistance, right? So when a current is run through the coil, it's the resistance that causes that coil to heat up. All right. So a higher resistance coil will require lower power levels. A higher resistance coil will create a cooler vape. And this is just general, guys, just general. Mm-hmm. Lower resistance coils require more power. Lower resistance coils will create a warmer vape. Lower resistance coils also heat up faster, but again, they require more power. So that's resistance in a nutshell. Now we have the two main styles of vaping. We have mouth to lung, MTL, and we have direct lung, DL. Of course, there are a lot of subcategories of that as well, but those are the two main styles. So what's the difference between mouth to lung and direct lung? Mouth to lung, like if you've ever smoked a cigarette, you have probably mouth to lung. If you're using a cigarette, it's the act of taking the smoke into your mouth first, then you stop your draw, and then you bring the smoke into your lungs, okay? So vaping, it works exactly the same way. You take the vapor into your mouth, step one. Step two, you bring it into your lungs.
So pause it right there. I just want to demonstrate real quick. I am going to demonstrate the two styles of vaping. Yes. So mouth to lung vaping. Here I have a little Innokin EQ device. I put the vapor and then I inhale it from my mouth down into my lungs. And then I exhale it. One more time.
So sexy. Wow.
Now, direct lung. Here I just have a little dripper. I am going to inhale directly from my atomizer into my lungs the vapor. And you can see it produces a bigger amount of vapor as well, too. Yeah. And that was your demonstration.
That was very, very
direct
good.
Direct lung versus mouth to lung.
Very, very nice. Well done. All right, so that's the mouth to lung versus direct lung, and then we hear wattage a lot. Now, wattage, it used to be voltage. Back when we started vaping, we adjusted in volts, and then Evolve came around and screwed everybody up, and now we all vape using wattage. And if you can think about it as simply as possible, it's a volume control, okay? So if you have an adjustable vaping device or an e-liquid vaping product, wattage is just the volume control that increases the power to your coil, making it hotter, okay? And you know, the reason why we're going through some of this stuff is because you should be armed with some of this knowledge if you're interested in getting involved with vaping, just so that you know a little bit about what you're talking about. Like, you know, especially if you're like, okay, for example, direct lung versus mouth to lung, right? If you're looking for that smoking experience, if you want to feel like you're smoking a cigarette, only doing it through vaping, if you go to a vape shop, one of the things you should ask them, well, is this tank a direct lung tank or is it a mouth to lung tank? Because you may not be comfortable with a direct lung tank to start off with. You might want something more similar to that smoking experience. That's why you should know some of this stuff, okay?
I do want to bring up this little slide here, and I want you to read it if you don't mind, Philly, because this is one of the problems that we run into today when smokers are attempting to try vaping. And this came to me from, it came to me from Fig, but this is actually a person that went into the vape shop to pick up a device. Transitioning from a Juul product into a more advanced, and they gave this poor woman a wrong device. But read it out, Phil, if you don't mind.
Wow, really? So I should buy a new device, put the new coil in now, and it's on lock mode. Crap! So many screens, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. LOL. If blank was home, he could fix my settings that are now all messed up. Thank God I have my Juul for backup.
So, yes, she had issues with the screen because some of these devices are very advanced, very elaborate. I think I talked about this with Mike Vapes as well too yesterday. Some of the devices, you turn them on and they're already in temperature control mode, or they're in just this advanced setting mode as well too. But the thing is that when she went for help, they told her to buy a new device. They went to the vape shop and said, "Oh, that's a little bit too advanced. Or you just buy another device." You know, if you're a smoker and you go into a vape shop and this happens and nobody offers you any help, just turn around and leave. There's plenty of vape shops in every city today. Find the vape shop that's going to cater to you and to your needs as a smoker.
You know, and it's true. And you need to understand like where your comfort level is, right? If you're just getting started, you might not want to screw around with all the settings and the screens and the fancy stuff, right? And you don't have to. I mean, a device can be as easy as this, right? And there is a setting on this one, but I mean, you just fill it up, you put it on, you push the button, and you vape. It could be as simple as a Juul. I mean, that's even easier because the pod's already full for you, and there's no settings or adjustments on it. And then you get, fancier with these screens and the color screens and all the settings and the temperature control stuff. But just know that it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be intense. You don't have to know a whole lot of information. You can start off as easy as you want and then progress.
Couple of questions from the chat that I want to bring up. Maybe we can address them here now, Phil, while we have some time. This is from Beth. Doesn't wattage give you a more customizable vape as opposed to voltage?
No, it really doesn't, because I mean, when you adjust watts, you are basically adjusting volts. Right. It's just a different way to look at things. So like, especially if you adjust in 0.1 watt increments, right? You are still adjusting in volts, but you are adjusting in very, very tiny increments of voltage, right? So it's for the most part, it's very, very similar. Okay. But because you're adjusting in 0.1 watt increments, you are fine tuning a little bit more than when we were adjusting in volts, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I have a video on my channel that's very, very old, but I tried to explain that kind of like using your throttle on the car versus putting it in cruise control, right? So voltage, let's say, is just your throttle and you're hitting it and you're maintaining that, you know, you want to get it to 4 volts and you're hitting it with the cruise control. You kind of set it, I want it in 20 watts, and it's going to automatically take the voltage up to where you have set it in wattage watt. I hope that analogy is a little bit easier for people to understand. There's a little bit more going on there, but it's just more in layman's terms of what the difference between the two is. But basically, they do the same thing.
We can start getting involved in Ohm's law, and I could start putting calculations and formulas up on the screen, and that's not something that we want to do in this show. But yeah, I mean, we all started adjusting in voltage, and then we went to watts. And watts is I think it's a more realistic term for the amount of power that we're using, right? But just know that
I am seeing more devices come out that are a little bit more simplified as well too. I'm seeing a lot of devices that are coming out that have just wattage and bypass mode now, which is a really good thing. The new kit that we're releasing, the 𝗘𝗡𝗎𝗪 with a 22mm Zenith, is just very, very simple. Wattage and volts. That's it. That's all you're gonna get. When you open it up, it's gonna be set at 14 watts. You put on your Zenith and just go from there. Go up a little bit, you know, if you want warmer. Go down if you want a cooler vape. Trying to make it more simple. And I think I agree with this lady that wrote this text, is that some of these devices you have to have a PhD in order for you to be able to even me, I get confused with some of the devices as well too, that have come out that are very, very complicated to use.
Yeah. You know, back in the day, this is how most people adjusted with a device like this. And this is, you know, one of the older Provaries, and this was a variable voltage device. Before I had this, my first one, oh man, am I going to remember it? It's blue. It was a variable
lava
voltage
tube?
device. No, not a lava tube.
The VAMO?
The
VAMO?
No, even before that.
Oh, the Buzz Pro.
The Buzz Pro, thank you very much. And that actually had like a little dial on it that you could adjust the voltage on. And then we went from this, if you guys remember, to this, right? And there it is. That is the Darwin from Evolve, and this is really what kicked off the entire wattage revolution.
Yep.
This is the very device right here that kind of switched us from voltage to wattage right there.
I think the beauty about, and just to keep it a little bit simplified so people don't get too confused on stuff like that, I think the beauty of it is that once you find the wattage, which is kind of the heat that you like to vape at, you can set that between devices. So let's say, you know, you put a tank on your device and you like it at 13 watts, where you take that tank, put another device, you know, you're going to set it at 13 watts. You're going to get that same heat, that same vape experience that you had before. That is the beauty about the watts. And that should be really the starting point for every smoker if you're going to get into a variable voltage device.
Yeah. And for the most part, you're correct. But there are some devices out there that aren't very accurate. And there are devices out there that peak at the beginning of the signal. So that, I mean, but for the most part, 13 watts on one device should be 13 watts on another device, right?
Melly, by the way, is smoke-free since St. Patrick's Day. She's the one that we sent the Chroma kit, so congratulations to you.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome. Great.
We love you, Melissa. All right. A question from Kaylee. I am trying to get my family that doesn't have a PC or a smartphone to quit smoking. I have bought many devices. They say none of them act like cigarettes. Any ideas? I have a pen and paper in hand.
Try an Innokin T18.
Yeah. I agree.
That would be my recommendation. It is so cigarette-like, right? It's a little bit on the large side, right? But the mouthpiece is the same diameter as a cigarette. It's a kind of a warmer vape like a cigarette. There's a lot of power there. It's a very satisfying vape. I would try an Innokin T18 at either a 12 milligram or an 18 milligram free-base nicotine and see if that works for them.
And make sure you get them in a good tobacco liquid, you know, something that tastes like an ashtray. I think that's very good, especially for the first 2-3 days. 12 to 18 milligram and a T18. It has the heat. It's a top coil. It's going to give them that satisfying cigarette-like experience as well, too. It's small. It's tubular. A lot of the things that the smokers are looking for. Even though it's kind of an older device, it's still one of the best starter kits, in my opinion, as well, too. Very
and the draw is very similar to a cigarette, too. Like somebody recommended here, the Innokin T20S. Another great device, but I think that the draw is a little bit uncomfortable if you're coming from a cigarette to something like that.
Yeah. The T18, I think, mimics the cigarette, probably one of the best devices on the market.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go small and, you know, pick up a stick battery or something like that, which, you know, who knows? Maybe this is something that they need. They need to have something that's in this form factor. But unfortunately, in this form factor, all we have is kind of the views and some of the products that you're going to find at the gas station. For them to, you know, just to give them one to try it out, that's fine if you're going to like it. But quickly, you're going to have to be able to get them from this into something bigger and better so they're going to continue to stay off cigarettes. And they're going to definitely need that. Oops. What's that?
What?
No, you're good. You're good. I have to fix that shot again. I almost transitioned into a shot. This doesn't have you on it completely at all. But anyway, all right. I do want to bring up the flavor study and discuss that briefly. And I am looking at the results of the study that we have here that we ask you to participate as well, too. We've talked about flavors in the past here on the Smoker Show, and we've talked about the importance that they and the role that they play in order to help you to stay off cigarettes. One of the biggest things that I feel from smokers, you know, in Greece I have a little bit more experience because I spend a little bit more time at the store and I see people that are coming in as well too, and they want, you know, an ashtray. Actually, I named a liquid ashtray in Greece. We don't sell it in the United States, unfortunately, but in Greece we do sell it. And because they say they come in and want an ashtray, it's like it's a tobacco flavor, very, very, you know, deep net tobacco. But a lot of them come in and tell me, Phil, that I don't want to vape a cheesecake, and I don't want to vape a lemon meringue pie, and I don't want to vape, you know, candy, and that's understandable. It's okay, right?
It's absolutely okay. I mean, when I first started vaping, I mean, I still called it smoking back then. And I said, why do I want to smoke a watermelon? That's ridiculous. Why do I want to smoke a peach? The only thing that I cared about was finding an e-liquid that tasted most like my Marlboro Light. That's all I cared about, right? And then all of a sudden I got involved with flavors, and I realized that flavors, fruits and bakeries are much more enjoyable, at least for me, right? Yeah. Than tobacco flavors were. But there are some really, really good tobacco flavors out there that could potentially help people to quit.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm fixing your shot here so I can put this one inside here because this is one of my favorite. I worked so hard on all these shots today, and it's really, really pissing me off.
That's okay.
But here we go. I got it up. The phone lines are open 215-383-5752 if you have any questions or comments, especially during the segment that we're going to talk about flavors. I think that a lot of people don't realize that their palate, when you quit smoking, changes constantly. It could be daily. It could be every week. It could be every couple months. The receptors in your mouth when you smoke are all blocked. That's why you can't really taste anything. But as you quit smoking, those receptors begin to open up. Then that means that your flavor palette is continuously changing. That's why it's good to have various flavors so you can try something different if something doesn't float your boat. The majority of the times, people that do quit smoking with vaping do use a tobacco flavor, especially in Europe and especially here in the United States back in 2014, 2015. Now, the last couple of years, especially with the vape shops moving to high VGs and 0.36 milligram, we are seeing people that are quitting, and we saw that with the flavor study results that we saw now, the latest one that we did with the 70,000 vapers. I think, again, that's one of the reasons why we don't convert as many people now as we used to do back in 2014 and 2015, unfortunately. So my advice to you is no matter what you're going to see with the flavor study results is if you're a smoker and a heavy smoker, try tobacco flavor at first, at least for the first couple of weeks, to give you that same satisfying feeling in order for you to stay off cigarettes. Would you agree, Phil?
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of, contradictions in the chat, and I totally understand that.
Sure.
But we're trying to think about what's going to work best for most people, not all people, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's what we do on this show. We give recommendations. They're not perfect recommendations. They're not recommendations that are going to work for everybody.
Right.
Everybody needs to find their own path. Everybody needs to find their own exit on their vaping journey. but we're trying to like just communicate what we feel would work best for people.
And I think that's very, very important as well, too, to get the accurate information, because I think that there is so much misinformation that you see publicly on mainstream media. I think once you go into a vape shop, depending on what that vape shop is going to be, you're going to get, you know, depending on who behind the counter, who the employee behind the counter is. They might have quit with a direct lung 3 milligram. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. So even though they're giving you like this potentially will help you quit smoking, it might not be what you want. So it's very important for you to experiment and try different things. And as Phil said, we're trying to do what is, you know, mostly common and what we've seen has worked in the past based on our experience. This is the flavor study that was released. This actually was submitted to the FDA. This will be peer reviewed and be published in a medical journal soon. And the name of the study is Patterns of Flavored E-Cigarette Use Among Adult Vapers in the United States. Almost 70,000 participants. This makes it the largest ever survey on the importance of flavors. And I'm not going to spend a lot of this. I have it on my Facebook. I have it on my youtube.com/vapinggreek, where I actually did the whole video with it. But I do want to bring a couple of things that are very, very important, in my opinion. The very first one is the people that took the survey, how many of them were not smokers? Well, 5.2%. That's only 3,000 people in an almost 70,000 study. Why is that important? Because we get told all the time that people are starting to vape and they never smoked before. We're causing initiation. They're picking up vaping, and then from vaping, they're picking up smoking as well, too. That is not the case. We do have the data now to prove it. On this 70,000, we have a couple million vapers in the United States. So translate the numbers from, if you take the 70,000 that we have now and translate the 2 million, 3 million people, the percentage is very, very low. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up here on this particular one is, you know, why did you start? Why did you start to vape? And look at the overwhelming response. To help me quit smoking, 89.2%. Now, there's other factors. This was a multiple question that you could choose various things. But the most important one, to help me quit smoking, because e-cigarettes might be less harmful, because e-cigarettes might be less harmful to people around me. Another big determining factor was price. To save money compared to smoking, almost 73%. Vapor from e-cigarette smells better than cigarette smoke, 85.7%. This is really good data to understand the people that took the survey. You know, the majority of these people were all online vapers, so they've been around for a while. They've transitioned fully into vaping, the majority of them. So it's very, very important for you to understand, as a smoker looking at this data, why these people tried it out, right? And we're hoping that you as well too have the same stance when you're trying to transition from smoking to vaping. All right. You know, what did you start with? These little devices, disposable, ego style. You're going to see here that the majority of the people, now this is, you know, 2018 data versus when this happened, 2014. The previous study, a lot of people started with disposables like we showed you at the beginning of the show. But a lot of them here are starting with variable wattage or an ego style, which is, you know, kind of like the T18. That's what an ego style means. It's like a tubular small device. You know, the initiation, this is what flavor that you started with. And you're going to see between tobacco and menthol, it's almost 40%. Almost 40%. Again, this was a multiple question. It wasn't just one single flavor. That's on the bottom scale. We're going to see that. So you're going to see a lot of people try a lot of different flavors, right? A lot of them did not stick with one flavor. And why is that important, Phil? Why is it important to have that variety of flavors? Because you might wake up in the morning, you know, right? You have your coffee, and guess what? Strawberry cheesecake ain't cutting it. Right?
I love when you ask me a question and then you just keep talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was leading you into it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You hear a thing called vapor's tongue a lot, right? When you vape a single flavor over and over and over again, you just get bored of that flavor. You get used to the flavor. It's like, if, you know, Dimitri, if you ate gyros every single day, you would get sick of gyros after a while.
That's a tough one, but I probably would, yeah.
Even being Greek, you would get sick of them after a while, right?
Yes.
So you would have to switch it up. You have to change it up, right? So, I mean, that's one of the things that are so important about flavors. It's the variety,
right?
You know, it's the ability to try different things. It keeps you engaged. It keeps you enthused. It keeps you excited about it. And even like one of my favorite flavors, where is it? Delaware Vapers Green Peach Tea.
Yeah.
Right. I love this flavor.
Shout out.
And after a while, I get sick of it.
Yeah.
I get sick of it. I have to vape something else. Right.
Yeah.
So, that's why it's so important to have this variety, because we all know taste is subjective, right? So, even if you have 100 liquids in front of you, you might not find something you like until you get to 101.
Absolutely.
Right? That's why it's so important to have these flavors out there.
I think what the flavor study proved is that no matter what flavor is, because tobacco is a flavor as well too. I think a lot of people don't realize that a tobacco liquid is actually made with flavors to mimic a tobacco, right? I think what the survey has proven is that the variety of flavors is very, very important. It's not one single flavor that can help people quit smoking, and nothing can show that clearer than this right here. What you're going to see here is. This is after you have quit smoking, right? So we said, the time of initiation, we set it up here, what people chose. But this is actual vapers. This is people that have quit smoking. This is choice of flavors at the time of survey. This is among current smokers, former smokers, and never smokers. This is everybody that's participating. And look across the board. Tobacco is very, very low, 9.1%. Menthol, 15.4%. Mint wintergreen, which is a flavor that I like. Unfortunately, it's not that high, 9.5%. And then, of course, fruit, dessert, bakery, candy, all of them very high, 82, 64, 40%. And then some of the other ones, coffee, spice, alcohol, cocktail, unflavored. Everything is really, really important. This is a very, very telling slide that I hope that the FDA takes seriously because they're calling us anecdote. They're saying, and not only them, Chuck Schumer and all of the politicians that are trying to ban flavors, look what's happening in California. They're saying, well, smokers and adults don't want flavors. They don't need flavors to quit smoking. This right here proves to them that it's absolutely vital. If not the most important part of vaping is the variety of flavors.
I totally agree. And I think we would be better off if some of these flavors didn't come in childish looking packages, right? I think we would be better off. I think there would be less eyes on us. Maybe the names of some of the flavors, the way some of these flavors are being promoted and marketed and packaged. And I think that's one of the things that the industry really needs to fix and clean up and do it quickly.
I totally agree. I'm going to try to move this so I can put the whole thing in the shot. Okay, I did it. I got it right there. This is the next slide that I want to show you. And this is if you had to pick one flavor. Okay, we saw earlier the previous slide said, what are you using right now? You've quit smoking and you saw it just goes across the board. And I know this is very difficult. And some of the vapors complained that, it doesn't have my description in there. It really doesn't make any difference. You can just kind of generalize it because liquids today are... they're more gourmet. When we started to vape, it was one flavor. It was watermelon, right? It was sour apple. It was tobacco. It was strawberry. Now, most liquids are very complex. And by gourmet, premium, whatever you want to call them, doesn't make any difference. I'm calling them complex because usually they have anywhere between 3 to 10, sometimes 15 different flavorings inside to create that one liquid that you're vaping. But the slide itself is very, very telling because this is the one flavor that you use more often right now. You've quit smoking, you're a vapor, and look at this. I mean, between fruit, dessert, and candy, just overwhelmingly take over that category. Tobacco is a very, very useful. Now, to be fair, people that do vape tobaccos are very, very passionate about tobaccos, and I get it. So don't get offended. But you're small in that category of former smokers. Most of the former smokers do like the flavor product, like me and Phil. We prefer a flavor product right now. And this right here is very, very telling, in my opinion, Phil.
Actually, you know what that slide tells me right there?
What?
That slide tells me is that if they eliminate flavors and only have tobacco flavors available, that a lot of people are going to go back to smoking.
Absolutely right. And it's actually one of the questions that we have further down on this presentation, because I think, once again, what we're trying to say is we're trying to show to the FDA is that we're not anecdotes. We're not made up characters that are saying that we're using, what's this? Pineapple, raspberry, peach flavor to quit smoking. And
that sounds delicious. Can you send that to me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you.
This was actually one of my favorite flavors. Anyway, in a very, very plain bottle as well too, with no flavor.
Is that mentholated?
No.
Okay, send it to me.
That's why I don't vape it. That's why I don't vape it. But the flavor is really good. If I had some menthol, I probably would like it as well too. But once again, the point I'm going off to the FDA, but this is geared towards smokers. Don't be hesitant don't be hesitant to try a cheesecake or a strawberry or something that even sounds crazy to you. I don't know. Pick a crazy flavor. Feel. Let's say infusion of peach, watermelon, and strawberry together. Don't be afraid, because that flavor might be that one that. Whoop, little light bulb works. It's like, oh my God, this tastes really good for me. And I can use this flavor to stay off cigarettes, okay? Don't be influenced by what you're seeing in the media. Go ahead.
Now, there are a couple flavors that you should avoid. I mean, crab juice was definitely one of them. There was a flavor called roadkill. That was pretty bad. And by the way, if you want a little blast from the past, look up one of my videos I did. I think it was the Italian review, where I reviewed, like, it was a mozzarella, it was a Parmesan, it was a pizza, and something else too. Some of the savory flavors just don't work. Yeah. But I mean, but like Dimitri is saying, with like some of the fruit flavors and some of the pastry and bakery flavors, don't be afraid to try them.
Yeah.
But if they're not for you, they're not for you, right? There's plenty of good tobaccos, plenty of good menthols, plenty of stuff for you to find what you like and not smoke anymore.
Yeah. I think when you're a smoker, look at this survey is from ex-smokers. The majority of these people are ex-smokers overwhelmingly, and now they're vapors, because all the people that are going to take the time to spend 20, 30 minutes online to do this survey are people that are passionate about vaping. So the stats, the results that we got are very valid, are extremely valid, right? Nicotine concentration at the time of quitting smoking. You're going to see here, by combination, 12 milligram, 19.3%. I think you're going to see a little bit change in this versus what we saw in 2014, simply because the devices got better. So 12 milligram and 24 milligram, if you combine them together, about 42%. And the reason being is, back when we quit smoking, we used 36 higher milligram nicotine, because the devices were not performing the way that the devices are performing now. You can get a device today and put 6 milligram. We suggest 12 milligram in the smaller devices, but you can get a bigger device if you're going to quit with direct lung and use 6 milligram and be satisfied with it, simply because the hardware has changed in 2018 versus what we had in 2014. So getting back to this particular slide that shows you the nicotine, you're going to see here 1 to 6 milligram. I think the majority of this is going to be 6 milligram at 46%, and then a combination up to about 45% between 7 and 24 milligram. You're not seeing any high anymore, because a lot of these devices are just, it's going to be too harsh for you to be able to vape. But here's another telling one. How important was the liquid flavor that helped you to quit smoking? And overwhelmingly here, combined, extremely important, very important. If you combine these two numbers, we're looking at about 95% of the people that took the survey said that the flavor was very, very important to him to quit smoking. Again, I'm going back to what I said earlier, but now we have the data to be able to back it up as well, Phil, right? Telling what the survey gave us.
Right.
And it wasn't just the flavors. It got us a lot of data as well, too, that I was really, really looking forward to.
So it's a good study. It's been submitted to the FDA, and hopefully they listen.
Let me bring up the last slide, which shows what people would do if flavors were not available today, which again was submitted to the FDA as well too. While I'm looking for it, can you fill in all the time, because there's so much on this paper as well too. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying we still have. Let's see, what time? Oh my God, is it really?
It's already 10:30. Yes,
10:30. We have some videos still to show. A gentleman that we sent the Chroma kit to. He was nice enough to film a video of his experience using it. Yes. And we're also going to go back to the Innokin factory, and we're going to show you how a Zenith is put together.
Yes, we are going to try to play those videos. You're saying it like it's going to work. But anyway, in this study, I'm trying to bring it up as well too. It says that if you were to take flavors away from now, 83% of the people would go back to smoking. If that's not a telling number for you, 83% would go back to smoking. If that is not a telling number for you as a smoker listening to that, and for you as a vapor taking that into consideration of what these government's going to do, listen. I'm going to put my serious hat on.
Okay, here we go.
The FDA knows that the most important part of vaping is flavors. The FDA wants to ban flavors so people will go back to smoking and use the available NRT or the two companies that are going to be left selling vapor products when all the vapor clears. Okay? They do know that flavors is the most important part. That's why we need to have them around for the millions of smokers still left.
That was very serious.
Like that.
So Flava for you has a interesting question here. How do you guys feel about RTAs coming out of China claiming that you can use nic salts in them? Look, nic salts is the popular wave that China is riding right now. China rode the sub-ohming wave. China rode the cloud shows chasing wave. China is now riding the nic salt wave. And pretty much everything you see that's coming out now says something about nic salts. Our own products say something about nic salts because that's the popular thing right now. Nic salts, I think, are a great way for people who are really sensitive to the harshness of what we're calling freebase nic. I hate the term freebase, by the way, and I hate the term nic salt too.
I hate it.
But this is what's happening. And everything, because these nic salts are so popular that everybody is claiming that their devices work really, really well with nic salts. I mean, personally, in my humble opinion, nic salt is just an e-liquid, right? It's just an e-liquid with for the most part, a different kind of nicotine. It's the same thing, right? I mean, I would imagine you could put nic salt in just about anything, and have it work.
I just don't see why. Why would you put nic salt in a sub-ohm setup? Why would you put it in an RTA? To me, it doesn't make any sense. Take nic salt, higher concentration, use it in a smaller device in a closed pod system, and give it to somebody to quit smoking. I'm all for that. Even a refillable pod system, if you want to use nic salt in it, I get it. What is the purpose of using a 6 milligram nicotine salt in a sub-ohm setup? I just don't see how the concentration, how the absorption is going to work, especially on such a lower level. The whole point of using nicotine salt is to raise the nicotine level to be able to get a satisfactory vape in a very smaller device. That's it. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm, some of these hardcore vapors are going to come after me and I'm going to get hate mail again. I don't care. I'm just telling you what I think. I don't understand it. I don't get it. It makes no sense at all.
I don't even like nic salts. I mean, I have them in this pod right here. But
I vape them because I'm testing out pods. It's not my preferred. Right. I like my 12 milligram in my standard setup. Sometimes, when you travel, you can't get it. It's good to have something that's going to give you a little bit more quicker absorption of nicotine. I get it. I use it. It's not a big deal. But which one is better or worse? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. As long as you're not smoking, I don't care if you're using nicotine salt. I don't use if you're using freebase. I don't care if you're using salt and pepper. As long as you're not smoking, that's all I care about. That's what the show's about. But
can I put salt and pepper in my tank?
Sure you can.
What about a little paprika, maybe?
Sure you can. And maybe put some tzatziki in it as well, too.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we do not recommend putting salt, pepper, paprika, or tzatziki in your tank.
No, don't make me bring this up.
I'll put that disclaimer out
Hold
there.
on, let me put that up. Use these products, including salt and pepper, at your own risk. That's great. So, Bill had a really good idea. We can play the videos like I did last. I'm going to screen capture him on the video screen on that way. That way I don't have to play him from Wirecast. That way we don't have any crashing.
Good. That's a great idea. I love that idea. We should go with that.
So I am going to look. What do you want to play first? Do you want to play the Zenith assembly? I think that's really cool. Do you want to play the video of...
Man, you are going a mile a minute tonight. Do we have any more spots from our sponsors first?
No.
Okay,
we're covered. I got one more. I'm going to play it in the end.
Okay, then let's take a look at the gentleman's video who talked about the Zenith and the
and what was that video called? Daniel, right?
Yeah, Daniel.
Hold on. Let me bring it up here. Okay, I'm going to pause it and then I'm going to restart
basil vape. That sounds interesting, Camaro.
Basil vape?
Like a basil, not basil ray.
Oh, I'd hit it. I'd vape it. Why not?
Yeah, basil.
This is done off a cell phone, so it's a little bit, weirded out, but you're gonna get the idea. And this is the gentleman that called in, just to give it a little preface, right, Phil?
Right. He called into the show, talked about quitting cigarettes, talked about getting people in his family involved in quitting cigarettes and vaping, and we did send him a care package.
All right, here we go.
That's the Plexus coil running at 12 watts and the 1.6 running at 12 watts. First of all, Phil and Demi, thank you so much for the care package you guys sent me after my call in on the last Smoker show. Super excited to get my Plexus coils. I'm really liking it. On the Plexus coil, I think it's different. I think it definitely does a very good job of feeding liquid, vaporizing the liquid. It's a very smooth vape, but you still get plenty of throat hit out of it, depending on, you know, your airflow and your wattage and so forth. It's been a great vape. I will say, you know, in comparison to the 1.6, which is what I use normally, I'm not a big fan of the 0.8 ohm coil, so I don't really have a good comparison to that. But I feel like I burned through a little more e-liquid using this one. Flavor wise, it is a different flavor profile. I would call it a flavor changer. I think it might change your flavors a little bit, not on a bad way. I haven't tried any of my other e-liquids. I've just been using my go-to tobacco in both, because I think that's kind of my staple, so to speak. But throat hit's still there. This 0.5 ohm coil is absolutely still a Zenith MTL style vape. It doesn't have a lot of crackle and pop that the other sub-ohm coil does. It's very smooth, and it changes the flavor of my e-juice. So it might be more flavor, it might be a different flavor. I'm not sure which one of those apply. However, super excited about it. I'm already scouring the internet to find out who has it in stock so I can order some more. And we'll probably be trying it out with some different juices in the future, and comparing it with the 1.6. I think absolutely, if it lasts twice as long, or 3 times, or 4 or 5 times as long as the 1.6 or the 0.8 ohm coil, it's definitely something to look at for use in the future, just because, you know, cost. If it lasts twice as long, you're spending, you know, half as much on coils, or at least using half as many as coils. I think the Plexus are a little more expensive than the 1.6, but still not even the cost of a pack of cigarettes. So thank you guys for the care package. Thank you guys for everything you do. And yeah, keep vaping and not smoking.
You know, that was really nice of him, Phil. It's one thing to call in and talk about vaping and trying to help people around you to quit smoking, but take the time to make a quick video and go through that. I appreciate that. That was really nice.
It was really cool. It was really cool of him to do that. And by the way, that care package that I sent him, it wasn't just our product. It was a whole bunch of different products that I sent to him, and it was really nice for him to do that video, and we appreciate it. And we don't care if he's using Innokin product or Joytech product or Aspire product, or whatever product. We care that he's not smoking anymore.
Absolutely.
So, thumbs up to you.
Thumbs up to you, Daniel. What else? Do you want to show people where the I think just to touch on what he said, that it's a sub-ohm coil, and just people be clarified. Yeah, it is a sub-ohm, which means it's under 1 ohm. That's what sub-ohm means. But just because it's 0.5 doesn't necessarily make it a lung hit type vape. It's still a mouth-to-lung vape. It's just been designed in that way with the Plexus with a very, very thin plate inside, and that's why the resistance is lower. You're still vaping at between 14 and 18 watts. I think 16 is your happy spot to it.
I want to say hello to Vapers Brazil. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, it's something we've talked about several times on the show. Like, there's an assumption out there that sub-ohm instantly means like clouds and direct lung and high VG. But that's simply not the case. That's simply mouth to lung versus direct lung has a lot more to do with airflow and chamber size and things like that, right? So just because it's a sub-ohm coil, and that's all that sub-ohm means, guys. All that sub-ohm, it means you have 1 ohm and you're under that, right? So a 0.99 ohm coil is a sub-ohm coil, right?
Yeah.
But you can absolutely get a really, really good mouth to lung vape on a coil that's below 1 ohm.
Funny, how do you know a device is MTL versus DTL? This is a question from Troy Hall, which is a really, really good question. I wish, and we have been pushing very, very hard for these products, especially when you're buying them on the internet, for them to have that distinction if it's a MTL, DL. Some websites do it, some websites don't do it. But unfortunately, it's very, very hard to be able to determine, if the tank or if the entire setup, the starter kit, because everybody calls them starter kit, doesn't really necessarily mean it's MTL versus DL, right, Phil?
Right, absolutely. You can take, okay, so most tanks have an AFC on, an airflow controller on it, right? So you can take a tank that's designed for direct lung vaping and you can tighten up that airflow all the way. And you would think that you have, well, now I have a mouth to lung vape, right? Because it's a very, very restricted airflow. That is not the case. That is absolutely not the case. Because if you take something like a 12 milligram or a higher nicotine and you put it in that tank and you tighten up that airflow to make it seem like it's a mouth to lung vape, it's not. It'll wind up being very, very harsh on you, right? So it's more than just the tightness of the draw. It's that air path through the atomizer.
I do want to bring this just the website up because it is one of our newest sponsor, My Vapor Store, and I'll show you one of the things that me and Phil are very, very passionate about. You can see clearly our tank, and because this is the way that we market it, it says it on the box, it says it in everything inside. This is an Innokin Zenith MTL tank. I mean, it's clearly marked that this is an MTL tank. But if you look over here at the Smoke Baby Beast, it just says sub-ohm, okay? Sub-ohm. But you have to go down here and kind of read through the descriptions as well too, right? Look at some of the resistances that it comes with. You can see here a quadruple 0.4 coil designed for 30 to 65 watts. This is a good indication that this is a direct lung. It's very, very hard for you to vape 65 watts MTL. So I hope this helps you a little bit to be able to determine what the two products are and what the difference is. This does not say DL, direct lung, on there, but if you go and read the descriptions, get a little bit more of what the product is, hopefully that will be able to help you. Did you like that?
Very good.
That was done on the fly, by the way. See that?
That was really good. That was very well done. You're amazing tonight.
Oh, so every time you say that, it breaks. Every time you say it.
Oh God! So Daniel was nice enough to do that video. So why don't we take folks to the Innokin factory and show them how the Zenith is actually made?
I'm very, very excited about this. I actually did a voiceover on this. We had the raw footage, but I do want people to see that the Zenith tank, it is a very intricate tank. There's a lot of pieces that go into it, and the thinking behind it once again is, what do we think that, especially starter people or people that are looking to quit smoking, older MTLers, what do they really want out of a tank? Ease of use and filling, easy to change the coil, and no leaking, flooding, or gurgling. Those are the 5 things that we believe that an MTL tank was really needed on the market. Nothing against, the Nautilus and some of the tanks that are out there. They've been there for years and they've helped a lot of people quit smoking. We just tried to eliminate some of the issues that we have been hearing from those products, and that's what we're going to do now. We're going to see that.
Clean and easy coil replacement too. I don't know if you mentioned that. And congratulations to Daniel Morrison. Saturday was his 1-month smoke-free anniversary. Is that Daniel that was just in the video?
I don't know.
Could be.
It could be. Yeah, it is. Saturday. Oh. Yeah, that is Daniel. That is Daniel.
Terrific. That was in the video. Daniel, thanks for that video, man. We really appreciate it.
We really do. We really do. Did you put a handwritten note inside there, like give it a little kiss or something, or no? On the package?
Yeah, I did. Matter of fact, I put the picture of me and you as Batman and Wonder Woman.
Did you? That's fantastic. All right, let me move over here. This is the actual assembly. Hold on a second. Make sure I got the right video.
Oh boy,
that's not the right video. No, that's not the right video. Hold on. What was it called? Was it called? It's supposed to be 725. Oh, it's in my videos. That's why. Let me see.
There you go. That's where it is.
There it is. I found it.
Here we go.
I found it.
Here we go.
Zenith assembly. This is what
here
this
it comes.
Is. Okay, here we go. Enjoy the video, guys. This is the Zenith tank being made. All right, I wanted to show you the production of the Zenith tank. This is actually being manufactured in the ISO lab facility of the Innokin factory. Starting off, of course, with the cage, is the protector of the glass, and the chimney. There's a lot of parts that go into this atomizer. I don't think people realize this is the chimney with the top stainless steel plate that actually shuts down the e-liquid when you open it up and prevents the gurgling and the flooding. As you can see, this is press fitted down onto the top portion. Everything on the Zenith is press fitted in. One of the reasons why you can't take it apart and replace the glass. It's kind of a trade-off. We'd rather avoid, leaking and gurgling to a new user than changing the glass. Maybe in the future in the Zenith 2, we'll be able to remove the glass as well too. But anyway, moving ahead here, you're going to see onto the next step. A couple of these people are doing the same thing as well too. But what you're going to see here is on the next step, they're going to take the bottom base that's going to actually hold the coil in it as well too, and that piece is going to be press fitted in as well. So that's what you see here. That is the bottom base, and it's actually put a little bit of lube, a little VG inside there as well too, to make sure that when the coil goes in, it doesn't get stuck into that chimney. It's very, very important that that is lubricated and the coil does not kind of stick in there with the food grade silicone that actually moves to shut down the liquid. Moving down the line, you're going to see here we are putting the glass inside the cage and then an O-ring on top. You're going to notice at every step of the stage, they are kind of looking over the glass, looking over the tank, making sure that everything, because there's a lot of pieces, a lot of things could go wrong. Make sure nothing is broken or something is offset. This is a moving parts atomizer as well too. So what you're seeing here is just putting the bottom base of the tank now before the airflow ring, and it does have the coil already installed. In this particular case, the 0.5 plexus. All the coils, excuse me, all the tanks now come with the 0.5 coils with the plexus technology. And it just makes it easier to press fit the entire thing with a coil in there, and also to check the airflow a little bit later down in the assembly line. So what you're going to see here is just taking the whole thing and press fitting it down, and ironically enough, you just caught it right there. One of them did get broken. She pulls it from the line. There is a little box on top for stuff like that that happens, and then kind of put the rejects on top. But the bottom base has been put on there, and this is a double press fit to make sure that everything comes together and that mechanism is working correctly to open and close the liquid flow to the coil. And that's what this gentleman is doing here. Before the top cap is inserted, he is using a tool to make sure that that little door opens and closes fluidly, making that motion easy and making sure that the post inside is turning as well, shutting down the e-liquid. Screwing and unscrewing all day. That's Phil's favorite job. He just doesn't get to do it very often. So we're getting prepared to put the airflow controller on there. Excuse me, the top cap, the liquid controller, which is actually the part that you see that says Zenith on it and open and close. She kind of looks the tank over and puts a top O-ring on that, and then the actual top cap is positioned on the tank, and it's going to go on the belt to move down to be press fitted once again. And once again, looking over the tank and making sure that all the pieces are in there correctly. There's only one way to put that top cap on there to give you that motion so it can have that stopper of opening and closing. And now the entire bottom portion of the tank with the coil already installed is press fitted, and everything is pushed down, making sure that everything is press fitted together. You can see she gives it another twirl on the top cap, making sure that it's working correctly. Now the bottom airflow ring is screwed on and then pushed back one more time, making sure that it's working correctly. This is an airflow test, making sure that the airflow controller is working correctly. You're going to see there's a little pressure gauge giving her a range of the air going in. And of course, she shuts down the airflow controller, making sure that it goes down. Now the drip tip is inserted. The tank comes, of course, with the straight drip tip installed on the tank, and then the curved one is available as an accessory inside the package. One more time, the resistance is being checked after everything has been put on there. And then it's inserted in the tray with the rest of the Zeniths. One more final inspection check before it is shipped down to the packaging department. And now Zenith. I love that last screen capture of you because you're sweating like there's no tomorrow.
God. You know, I sweat so bad there. And that room is actually pretty cool too. I don't know. Maybe I'm nervous. I don't know. But you know what I found funny about that video? Thank you. Can we get off of that? Thank you very much. Thank you. The fact that they probably produced like 50,000 of those things that day, and I happened to catch the one where they smashed the glass.
And it happens.
When they press fit it. What are the odds of that happening?
I think it's great that you caught it because stuff like that does happen, and we do see it in the coil production. We see it in the assembly production of the devices down there. On top of every station, there's a little reject box. It's actually a plastic box that they take these and they put them in. And they use that for feedback to see what went wrong and stuff like that as they're doing QC. So it was pretty cool. I think it's cool to see, especially the Zenith, because again, a lot of people don't realize why you can't take the glass apart. Well, this will show you why you can't take the glass apart. It's the sacrifice that we made to be able to shut off that liquid when it opens and closes. And for a smoker, we believe that gurgling and flooding and juice in your mouth is a huge turnoff.
Right. And you know, it also shows the quality of that assembly, right? I mean, where that tank is being made, and I love how they're like really just like slowly looking at every step of the process, right? Yeah. So you know, it's cool.
What's really cool is to be able to bring this back and show it to you guys as well too. I think a lot of people do find it interesting to see where these products come from, and I wish. I mean, we've done it with other companies in the past. People should go to your YouTube and look at some of those videos and see the difference between 2015 when we shot the first videos, 2016 to what we are now, and how Chinese manufacturing has evolved with the demands of the customers and of course the demands of the consumers. A lot of people saw our first videos and made recommendations that we did take back to these factories, and a lot of them have implemented it. The Innokin factory making coils did not look like this 2 years ago.
No.
Right? So now the coil assembly and all the tanks, everything that has stuff that the actual liquid comes in contact with is being made inside that room, which is a huge room, by the way. But I think it's very, very interesting for people to see it as well, too. And it's not made up. I don't want to hear this. Oh, this is just, it's not. There's 500 people working in that room. There's just no way that you can set something like that up.
No, and if you go look at the China video, the most recent China video that I did, I actually panned through the entire room, and you can get an idea of like just how big that room is and how many people are working there.
Yeah, it really is. I would like to go to this factory over here and see how they actually make the sketches as well too. That would be a really, really cool video. I think a lot of people would be really interested to see that as well too. 2153-35752. We just got a couple more minutes. If you do want to call in and have a question, we'll try to answer it. If not, I will look through and see if Beal has had any questions for me.
Yeah, good. What do we call it? 𝗝𝗎 recommends that we show the legal vape video next week.
We will do it next week, and I think one of the reasons why I crashed today is because I have so many videos loaded up, and that might be the reasons for from now on the big videos, meaning over 5-6 minutes, I will load them up separately and just do them just like I've been playing them for the last couple minutes, and I think that's going to work out.
Yeah, that looked fine. That looks fine.
Yeah, it is. It's just it's just a matter of I thought it was easier just kind of load them into Wirecast and play them that way. Is that okay with you?
That is acceptable to me, and much better than the system crashing too.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Let me go ahead and play one more last commercial, and this, of course, is for our liquid sponsor. That would be 5Ponds, and we might be having another announcement the next show where we're very, very excited. But till then, here's just a quick word from 5Ponds.
𝗏𝗡𝗠𝗡𝗢 Blue is a 5 flavor blend lineup that I started working on back prior to August 8th, 2016, and these are registered flavors that are all sea salted flavors. You look at cuisine and you look at things that you eat on a daily basis. A dash of salt to a steak makes it taste that much better. A dash of salt to caramel, milk chocolate, melon, coffee, it enhances flavor. And that's what 𝗏𝗡𝗠𝗡s is all about. We're a flavor company, and 𝗏𝗡𝗠𝗡s Blue is all about sea salt and what sea salt can do to the flavors in these blends. You taste it in the vapor, you experience it in the vapor, and you might taste it on your lips. This is something new, this is something different, this is something that pushes the envelope once again, which is something that I think we're known for. These are not nic salts, these are artisan sea salts from around the globe that we have mimicked, that are designed to enhance flavor, because 𝗏𝗡𝗠𝗡s is, after all, a flavor company. We have been since 2012. That is the passion. The passion is flavor and getting people off of combustible tobacco and offsetting the leading cause of death in the world. And I hope these flavors do that.
So you can keep all the salt that you want. We've actually tried that entire line. It is very, very accurate. But for me, Symmetry, 12 milligram. I've got it loaded up in the Innokin AQ with a boost mode on the Plexus, and it's just an enjoyable vape.
Awesome. Did you wind up getting their salt line? Did they send it to you?
Sure did.
And I love it. I still don't have it. And I love how like the entire industry has moved to salt, and they came out with salt too, but it's like not salt, Nick. It's like salt flavorings, right?
Absolutely. Guess what? 949. You're on the air with Phil and Dimi. What's up?
Jimmy and Phil, how you doing tonight?
Good. Who's this?
This is Adam.
Hey, Adam. What's up?
Hello, Adam.
Hey, quickly, as a devoted mouth-to-lung vapor, I've been using the Aspire Nautilus PVC coils for years and years.
Yep.
10 seconds.
Can you tell me from an experienced standpoint, how do the Zenith coils compare to the Aspire PVC coils?
Okay, that's a very, very good question. And ignore the British lady. You might be hearing her in the background. You can still stay on the line while I switch the camera over to Phil to explain to you.
Oh, great. You want me to do it? It's going to be very, very similar.
Yep.
I'll be honest with you. The Aspire BVC coil is one of the best coils in the industry. It has been for many, many years. It is a great coil. We try to take that vape experience, but put it in an easier to use package, right? And that package being the Zenith coil. Now, I've heard from people that they last longer than the BVC coil, that they taste better than the BVC coil. I really can't say that. I mean, I think that they're on par with the BVC coil, right? But people are having some really, really good experiences with them.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Adam, listen, if you're happy with that coil, there's absolutely no reason for you. We made the Zenith as an option for the Nautilus users, because as a Nautilus user, if you're going to go buy something at a vape shop right now, there's nothing else. It's that. That's all you have. And we wanted to have another option and tweak a couple of things for the Nautilus tank, which like the bottom filling have to remove the base. And, you know, with the Nautilus 2, the gurgling that you get when you top filling, you put that pressure on the cap. That was the thinking behind it. The coils themselves are very, very similar, and it's going to be a similar vape experience as well too, with the exception of the Plexus. Some liquids seem to really shine with the Plexus, and some other ones you're not going to tell the difference. So if you want to experience it from that, yes, absolutely, go ahead. But we make the Zenith and we sell the Zenith, and I'm telling you right now, if you're happy with what you have right now, man, the Aspire BVC coil is great. It's one of the best coils on the market, you know. So it's really up to you if you want to try something new or not.
You know how vapors are. Even if you're happy with something, you're still looking for the next.
That's why we put it out there. Absolutely.
I think I'll probably end up giving them a shot anyways.
We wanted to have the
MTLers.
MTLers.
It's great to hear from.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam. We wanted to have the MTLers have another option and get excited about another tank, man. Like, it's for 4 years we've been telling people, get the Aspire Nautilus, put it on an ice stick or a Pico or whatever. There you go, and quit smoking. We just wanted people, especially MTLers, to be excited about MTL again. Like, make MTL great again. That's gonna be my hashtag.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And
I think even the guys that have been doing the direct lung stuff for a few years now, and then the real enthusiasts, I think they're beginning to appreciate what mouth to lung has to offer. So it's great to see the experienced guys that have stuck with mouth to lung, and the guys that have gone for the cloud chasing stuff, going back to mouth to lung, and I think it steers potentially new vapors in the right direction to have a few more options available at shops that they stumble into if they're looking to quit smoking.
I did yesterday when I did my my live vlog. I was talking to Mike Vapes. Mike Vapes' wife loves the Zenith, right? She loves that setup. My wife loves that setup. Phil's wife loves that setup. So I'm going to change our direction from 2019. I'm going to say we are designing products to keep reviewers' wives happy. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to do. Because honestly, just like you said, I think that there is a resurgence of MTO. I think a lot of people are realizing that they want to go back to lower consumption, not spend as much money, get more nicotine satisfaction. Let's face it, vape bans are happening everywhere as well, too. So it's not as easy to get out there and blow a cloud like it was before, right? So if you want a more stealthy setup to get more satisfying nicotine, a lot of people are switching to that. And we're just happy to be able to provide it. We're going to continue to do that style. This is our focus. All the products that we're releasing are MTL. This is what we do. And hopefully people enjoy them and use them.
I'll tell you what I really like about
this. Compare
hold on a second.
Anything to the flavor of a good mouth to lung atomizer.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have the right liquid too, as well. I mean, you need to have that liquid that matches up with that style of vaping as well too, in order to get that flavor that you're looking for. A good blend of PG, VG, and nicotine. Yeah.
That's another thing is finding liquids from big vendors in like a 50/50 or 12 milligram is it's getting harder and harder to find. So I hope the liquid industry follows the direction of the hardware makers.
Yes. I think that we are. I think we're going to see it. I've seen a couple of companies. Moon Mountain released a 30 ml bottle line of 50/50. Going back to the basic stuff that they had before. They did a relabeling for it. We're seeing that come out. You got Mountain Oak Vapors, the Plume Room, Mixteria. You have a lot of companies out there that people have forgotten about. They've been around for 7-8 years, and now you're seeing that those products are coming out again. Maybe we need a little bit more relabeling and make that 30 ml bottle approachable again. I did see a comment in the chat that said, are 60 ml bottles really approachable to the smoker? That's a very valid point. A 60 ml chubby might be a little bit more intimidating to a smoker. Let's go back to the 30 ml bottle. Just a simple bottle that I use. This is the label on my liquid here. Look at that. All it has is a ice cube and a menthol leaf. This is fine for me because this is what I vape, right? So I agree with you, Adam, and I'm so glad that you called in and did commentary on that. And if you do try the Zenith, I'm not telling you to, but if you do try it, how about I get Phil to send you one, and then you can try it. How about that?
I wouldn't complain.
Phil, are you going to send Mr. Adam a Zenith tank?
Hey, Bill, do me a favor. Adam, are you in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, get a hold of Bill Tarling. Bill Tarling will get your address and your information, and I will get a Zenith tank out in the mail to you.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Adam.
Really appreciate it.
Have a good one.
You're welcome.
How'd you like that? How'd you like that? Whoo! Just toss that ball right down your court.
Really good. That? Yeah, thank you. Thank you for adding to my list of things to do. A couple of things here. First of all, to Junk Man, I did not say BBC coil. I said BVC coil, because if it was a BBC coil, it wouldn't fit.
It would not.
Right there. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, to Adam, this was probably my most used rig until this. Right? And does everybody know what that is? Dimitri, do you know what that is?
Absolutely, I do. That is a Preveri Radius.
And what tank is it?
That is the Kabuki.
And what coil does the kabuki use?
The BBC.
The BBC coil. So, I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the BBC coil. I said BBC.
We should release a coil and call it BBC. We really should do that.
There's nothing wrong with the BBC coil. So, like I said, it's one of the best coils from mouth to lung in the industry. It has been for years. The reason why I moved from this to this is because every year I get on me, I get lazier, right? And things like building, it doesn't appeal to me so much. Things like complexity doesn't appeal to me so much. What does appeal to me? Easy to use, okay? Yep. And that is easy to use, right? And I think a lot of people are like that. And if they're not like that now, they very well may be like that tomorrow, right? I tell you, one of the things that I really like about the resurgence of mouth to lung, and if this has happened to you, and higher nicotine, because remember what we say, and remember the truth here is that nicotine is not necessarily the enemy, right? Nicotine is not carcinogenic, right? It's everything else about burning a cigarette that creates the carcinogens. So if we can go from, your e-liquid usage, right? If we can go from a bottle size like this in a week to a bottle size like this in a week, I think that's a good thing, right? Because what do we say? This is harm reduction. It's not harm elimination. Yeah. So how can we reduce the harm even more? Less exposure, right? So like I said, if we vape this in a week or we vape this in a week, this right here is a lot less exposure, right? So that's one of the things that I really like. Even with the salt nicotines, if you're up at a 40 or a 50, but you're vaping a tiny little bit in a week, I think that's a good thing. I think overall, limiting your exposure to unknowns as much as possible is probably a good thing.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Adam, that you just called in, send me a message on Facebook. Even if we're not friends, I'll see it and I'll send the information over to Phil. Facebook.com/VapingGreek. Question from Fagan in the chat. Are you wearing makeup?
Who, me or you?
You. This question's for you. I'm asking you.
Is that Vaping Fagan?
Yeah. I see. Are you wearing makeup? That's a question. That's a valid question.
No, I'm not wearing any makeup. This is my beautiful tan complexion. I did try to tan a little bit today, but Dimitri was like, I'm telling you, it's worse than like having a brand new girlfriend. It really is. He takes up a lot of my time, ladies and gentlemen. He really does. But this is all natural. And unlike you, Vaping Fagan, if you look behind me, no dildos anywhere. There's not a single dildo anywhere.
Ooh, them fighting words.
Right there.
Cockadoodle damn!
Even indoor smokers agrees. Cockadoodle damn. Jesus. But yeah, what's the best MTL, RTA, and RDA in your opinion? From RTA, if you want a very, very tight draw, the Berserker. If you want a looser draw, Siren 2, and of course our Aries. I think that pretty much covers the RTA. As far as an RDA, personally, inexpensive RDA, I have not found one that I enjoy yet.
You know what? I found an RDTA.
Yeah, okay. I have the Vapefly Galaxies as well too. To me, the flavor is not. The flavor is not as satisfying to me.
On the RDTA?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, and I don't know if it's because of the bell, the way that the cap is designed. The flavor is not. You know me. When I vape, I want to have that wet, saturated, chewy vapor in my mouth. I'm not getting
chewy vapor. You know what? Okay, so I actually quite like the Vapefly Galaxies MTL RDTA.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, this really opens up the ability for me to use more squonk devices, right?
Yeah.
I think the atomizer is really, really good. I am getting really good flavor from it, really good performance from it. Is it the best flavor? Look, what is the best flavor? Flavor is so subjective. Like Daniel said in the video, I think he said something really important in that video that I liked, that I keyed into. He said, I don't know if it's better flavor or if it's changing the flavor, right? And, some atomizers may not increase the flavor. It might change the flavor to something that you like better, if that makes sense. right? Because for the most part, these are all our builds are very, very similar. I mean, we're all using kind of similar wires and similar cottons and similar everything. So, I mean, there's only so many ways you can change the airflow. So I think what he said there was really, really interesting. And I keyed into that. So I actually do like the flavor. And I like the fact that I do have another mouth to lung possibility that allows me to use squonk boxes.
I'll give you that. I can vape it, but I don't reach for it. Okay, so that's the difference. And I always try to say this in my review videos with the pods as well too. It's a good vape, right? I like the features that it has. I like the fact that it's squonking. I have it sitting on the Rage here. But do I reach for it? No, I don't reach for it, because to me, especially an MTL vaping flavor plays a huge role. Okay. So, from expensive stuff, we do have the Skyfall out there that's really, really good mouth to lung atomizer, but good luck trying to get your hands on it. And then the other one, what's the other one that's expensive as well too? The Salix. Vikram said that it comes with the inserts as well too. Good luck trying to get your hands on that. We're talking about authentics, very, very, very hard to find. So. I think that the RDA MTL niche is wide open for more to come out, especially with a squonk craze, and it would help MTLers use squonks more. It's one of the problems that we've had, but unfortunately, still on the market, it hasn't caught up yet. And I think that the RDA market in general for MTL hasn't caught up yet, because usually RDAs are people that vape sub-ohm, and that's what we're seeing a lot. I mean, Fagan's released 3 RDAs just during this broadcast right now.
No, but I will say that,
I love the Skyfall. I love the Skyfall. He's asking me what's my best. I love it. It's got the little inserts on the side. You can get it really, really tight, and I'm in love with the flavor of the Skyfall. I'm in love with it. But it's, again, you got to get on a list, and
list, pricey, right? But I think this is kind of an approachable, good quality atomizer, especially if you're looking for a squonk option. So I
give you that.
If I am reaching for a squonk device, this is currently the atomizer that I'm putting on it. Okay, so that's a pretty good endorsement for them.
I'm getting a lot of questions now. How long should a BBC coil last at 10 mLs a day?
Oh lordy,
that's it's very, very hard to answer, right, Phil?
It really is. I always go back to my rule of thumb: change your coil once a week, right?
Yeah.
It depends on the power that you're using. It depends on the e-liquid that you're using. It depends on the sweeteners that are in that e-liquid that you're using. It depends on so many things. So that's why I have this rule of thumb once a week. Some people get a couple of days because of the e-liquid that they're using. I've heard people that are going 3 weeks on a Zenith now with a plexus coil, right? So it depends on so many things. Look, if your flavor starts to change and it gets what I call funky, change your coil. If you notice your draw tightens up, change your coil. Yeah. If you look at the bottom of your tank, okay, and it's like got this dark layer of e-liquid on the bottom, change your coil, right? Yeah. Coils are much cheaper than a pack of cigarettes, right? Yeah. So don't take away the health benefits of vaping because you want to get, you're too cheap to buy a new coil, right? Change your coil.
And I don't see it. Why not? If you just to make it a general rule of thumb once a week, it's just a consumable. It's a consumable that you should expect when you switch to vaping, just like you buy a lighter when your lighter breaks down, when you buy another pack of cigarettes. A coil is the same thing. It's a consumable that you're going to need. Put it in your rotation. That way your flavor stays fresh and you're happy. And it's all about vaping. Is all about being happy. Now, granted, in my life, unfortunately, vaping rarely makes me happy because of the advocacy and the drama and politicians and public health and all that. But for you, it should be you should vape and be happy. Like wake up every morning and not have a cigarette and just enjoy that flavorful vapor in your mouth and get your nicotine and be happy, man. It's all about being happy.
I totally agree with that. I mean, vape. You ask people why they smoke. Why do you smoke? Because it's pleasurable, right? It's a pleasurable activity. It might not have been on your very first cigarette, right? But it becomes pleasurable. And really, that's what vaping should be for you. It should be pleasurable. It should be easy. It should be as simple as you want it. It should be as complex as you want it. And it's one of the beauties of vaping and one of the negatives about vaping. And it's the same thing, right? It's the beauty of vaping is that we have now on the market today something for everybody. Look, if you can't find something to help you off of traditional tobacco cigarettes. Either you're not trying hard enough or you just don't want to quit, right? But were you going to say but?
No. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
So go ahead.
But it also makes things a lot more complex because you have so many products on the market now, because you have so many resistances, so many tanks, so many devices, so many options, so many features. You know, believe it or not, when I started vaping in 2009, and Dimitri too, even though the product wasn't as good, it was a little bit easier to get started because there weren't so many products on the market, right? Now, it's great that we have all those products, but it's more challenging to navigate your way to find what works best for you.
Our unscientific poll, I will bring it up here for you. Flavor you tried in your first vaping experience, overwhelmingly tobacco, 56%. I think this is more accurately describing exactly the transition to vaping from a smoker, right? Overwhelmingly 56%. We're seeing that the fruit is the second one at 28%, and then the rest of them take third. But here's the key.
There it is.
Flavor you are using most of the time after you quit smoking. And again, I know this is not, scientific, or it has possibly your flavor on there, but look at that. Overwhelmingly fruit at 56%. Bakery, candy combined over the tobacco use now. So This is at your start. The green is the tobacco. This is after you have quit smoking. So even in this unscientifically proven, quick poll that we did here over SurveyMonkey, you're going to see, take that tobacco liquid, it's first week, couple weeks to make the transition, and then get out there and discover the wonderful, wonderful world of these amazing flavors that keep us off cigarettes.
I think you should submit that poll to the FDA, Dimitri. I think they'll accept it. I think they will.
Joker was a Busardo. Oh yeah, what's up, Joker? Yeah, of course I remember you. You had that what was it called? Cheap e-liquid, I think was the line. I thought it was really cool. Cheap. I mean, it's like you buy it, it's cheap. Perfect marketing. Cheap e-liquid. It's fantastic. I think that was him. I hope that was him. That would be embarrassing. All right, menthol is great for those who quit smoking. Feels more satisfying in my opinion. I kind of agree with that. Mike yesterday was saying that in pod systems, all he uses is menthol. He likes menthol in pod systems, even though in sub-ohming he doesn't. Because are you there, Phil? Okay. Because in pod systems you want a little bit more of a scratch, so menthol works because you're mouth to lunging it. And a direct lung, he likes bakery and stuff like that. He doesn't like menthol as well too. So I agree with that. I agree with that statement. I was never a menthol smoker.
Yeah, menthol itself has more of a throat hit, but it's a different kind of throat hit. There's definitely a lot more sensation when you're vaping a menthol liquid. And to be honest with you, I always thought that a menthol smoker would have an easier time transitioning to vaping than like a Marlboro smoker, because I think menthol e-liquids better simulate menthol cigarettes. I mean, I've tried a couple menthol vapes in my day that were like, oh my God, I couldn't tell it apart from a Newport.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you what, menthol, the liquids that I vape, when I vape
are brutal, by the way, are absolutely brutal. They're throat rippers, ladies and gentlemen.
They are. They really are. When I vape this liquid here, menthol ice, I can get a month out of my coils. When I vape this liquid here, Tasty Troll, this is called Twisted Menthol, and boy, let me tell you, this will make hair grow on your eyeballs. It's like 4 different menthols in a box. My coils stay perfect. When I do my eucalyptus one, because it has that eucalyptus oil inside, my coils are dead in like a couple of days. That's why it's very important to understand the liquid that you're using, and don't think that it's your device or it's your coil going bad or this is a bad batch or whatever. Liquids unfortunately have flavorings, and these flavorings react differently with the materials that we're using. So you might have a coil that's gonna, with a flavor that's gonna last 2 days, or you might have a liquid that's gonna last 3 weeks or 4 weeks, depending on the ingredients that it has in there.
I think your coils. I've tasted and tried some of the vapes that you use, Dimitri, and I think your coils are lasting so long because some of your liquids act as like an acid and clean the coils off as you're vaping. I think that's why.
But you're never gonna see me with the Skechers on my head. That's for sure. You're never gonna see me. You're never gonna see me. You're never gonna see me.
You are so lucky that I don't have control of the cameras. You really are.
And you never will. All right, I think we covered everything. It's 11:20, Phil. We've gone way
Is it
far.
really?
Yeah,
oh my
God.
God.
It really is. So, yeah. recap. We talked about we talked about our first e-cigarettes. That was really, really interesting. We talked about useless studies, right? A lot of these studies that you're seeing out there, fear-mongering smokers from trying it. If you're a smoker, don't believe it, okay? If you have tried the available NRTs and you have not been able to quit smoking, vaping is a viable, scientifically proven, less harmful option for you to try. If you're a vapor, take that information and discuss it with a smoker. We don't have the power to get on CNN yet. I'm saying yet because we do have something in the works. We don't have the power yet to be able to get out there and combat this in media. So that one-on-one personal action between you and the smoker is very, very important. So you as a vapor get educated, get the ammunition and the tools to accurately describe what vaping is to help them transition. We talked about good studies. The flavor study, which has been submitted to the FDA, part of the flavor comment period. It's also going to be reviewed and peer published in a in a medical journal. We did our own scientific study with SurveyMonkey, and we saw pretty much the same results that people do like flavored products. What else did we talk about? Phil?
We talked about some of the basic knowledge that you should have when you go into a vape shop. Just know a few things so that you're a little bit more educated when you go in there. I think one of the most important things is that you understand the kind of vape that you're looking for, whether that be a direct lung vape or a mouth-to-lung vape. Do you want it to be more similar to a cigarette, or do you want to try something else? We talked about that. We showed you how the Zeniths are made. We saw a glass break on the assembly line. That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And we took your calls.
We also saw Sweaty Phil in the
I see him all the time, by the way. Just it's nothing to me. It's not surprising. But yeah, we want to ask you just a couple things. First of all, we want to thank our sponsors, Innokin, Joytech, 5Ponds, and our new sponsor starting today, myvaporstore.com, which, by the way, has all of the Innokin platform, our products in stock. We certainly appreciate the support.
Stop for a second. Can you just stop talking for 1 second? This is a great show. This show is so easy for me because really I can just sit here and smile every now and then. And Dimitri puts a funny picture of me up on the screen and see, oh, look, there I am. Our sponsors, right? I want to thank our sponsors. And there's a reason why they're sponsoring the show. They're sponsoring the show because they think the show is important, right? They like the fact that we're trying to reach smokers, which isn't always what happens in the world of vaping. So if you have the opportunity to support our sponsors, please do that. Please do that, okay? And we really want to, thank Innokin, Joytech, 5Ponds, and My Vapor Store for coming online. We appreciate the support that they're giving us, and we hope that you show some support back to them as well.
And there's a reason why we kind of pick and choose the companies, because we do believe that the company should continue to make starter kits for beginners, for smokers, for MTLers, and try to help people quit smoking. And that's why we're kind of, you're going to see a very limited amount of sponsors here, but the sponsors that we're going to bring on are going to represent what we're trying to do here with the Smoker Show.
So what you're saying is we won't bring an e-liquid company online that has like 0 and 3 high VG only. Is that what you're saying?
It's just not going to happen. As much as I like those companies and I have a lot of friends in there, it's just not something that we can recommend for smokers as well too. The second thing that you can do, of course, is to like and share this video. Share it with a smoker. They're going to get some information, something that you don't want to explain for 2 hours. Hopefully they'll be able to get some information and, kind of dispel the media myths that they're seeing out there as well too. That is part of our job here as well too. So like it and share it, and we appreciate you watching.
Absolutely. I appreciate, is that Limner or Limner? I don't know, but I appreciate his girlfriend. I really do.
Why?
Well, because she has an annoying crush on my smile.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, well, that's what he said.
I had the best I had the best comment on my YouTube channel today. Do you want to hear it?
I do. I really want to hear it because we're way over time at this point. So this is after hours.
Might as well. We should just go on Facebook and do this. But I'll just bring this comment up here. This is just really, really sweet. This is a comment under my, and she's in the chat today. I'm going to embarrass her too. This is a chat in my under my review of the comma today. Yet another great review. Dimi, thank you. I don't have a lot of experience with pod systems, but I'm strictly an MTL vapor, as I've only been the Breeze 1. Honestly, I kind of give up on it due to muted flavor, using 12 milligram freebase nicotine and 25 milligram salt. For me, flavor is just as important as throat hit and nicotine delivery. Can't be one without the other. Muted flavor, forget about it. As an aside, I think I have a bit of a crush on you, and I'm gay. Shh, don't tell anyone. I'll be kicked out of the club and have my membership revoked. Consider yourself complimented. And honestly, I'm being completely serious here. I am flattered and I am honored. Thank you so much. That's very well. By the way, feels gay as well too, but you know, I still love him. And he wears makeup, apparently.
That is, you probably just embarrassed her so much, but how awesome is that?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think, I have a question for Janine. Is it since he lost his weight? I mean, did you have a crush on him before too? Did you have a
Maybe
crush
she
on him
didn't vape when I was 302 pounds.
when it was like that? Right? Because I still had a crush on you when you were that it's because to me size doesn't matter.
Oh.
And with you, that's perfect.
For you, oh God, I'm gonna pull that clip. I'm gonna make it my ringtone. That's gonna be my ringtone. Phil Busardo saying size does not matter. That's what it is. All right. All right. That's all I had. I do have. Look at this. Look at this fantastic shot. Look at this.
Look at that.
Boom.
It's
Look at that.
unbelievable.
Isn't that cool?
Wow.
Isn't that
Yeah.
cool? I've been playing around with
If
it.
you can just make it not crash all the time.
Well, I mean, I can't help that. That is way beyond my technique. I don't know why it crashed. I mean, it has nothing to do with me. But at least we were able to get back on the same stream, so that's really important. And
yeah, and you know, being on the same stream is very important. Don't cross the streams. By the way, did I tell you? So my old new laptop broke at the beginning of this week, right? And I panicked because I know that we had to do this show and I got other recording to do. So I literally ran to Best Buy and I just picked up the best laptop that they had, which I'm using right now. So tonight I got my other laptop working. So now I have two brand new laptops, one old new laptop.
I think you're talking about me. What is your upload speed, by the way, at Cape Coral, Florida? What is your upload speed?
I don't know. It's
what is it?
Listen, shut up. If I could go get fiber, I would get fiber. I would have the fastest internet possible.
18 up, ladies and gentlemen. 18 up. The famous Phil Busardo, 18 up. And with that, we bid you farewell. Thank you for watching The Smoker Show. Please pass the video along, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks here. Next week, Tuesday night, Smoke Free Radio. I'm going to bitch a lot about the flavor study and some of the other studies that have come out this past week in more detail. I'm also going to cover the nicotine warning. A lot of confusion out there from a lot of people on the nicotine warning. You see it here because this is a sponsored show, and we do have e-liquid with nicotine. And you know why? Because you can't quit smoking unless you have liquid with nicotine, and we're very, very proud to have it on there. But Absolutely. A lot of confusion on that. We'll cover that on Smoke Free Radio next week. Anything that you want to add, Phil?
No, except for the next Smoker Show, you're going to see a very old and familiar backdrop.
You're going to be in Rochester.
I'm going to be in Rochester.
Very,
yeah,
very
so that'll
excited.
be fun.
And you have better internet connection there too.
It just never ends, folks. It never ends, really. It's brutal.
See you guys next week.
It's a full-time job. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon. #SmokersWanted.